Happy Monday. Hey, Miller, miss you. Can't wait to hide out on your land. Eventually, it's going to be great. Okay, let me get us live on YouTube, Twitch, and X, which I thought I was live on Twitch. Give me 1 second to make sure we're refresh. Okay, we're live on Twitch and X. Let me figure out what's going on with YouTube, and then we'll get this show started. Hey Leah, hey Steph, happy Monday. Thank you so much for the gift, Miller. You're amazing. Let me make sure I have this pinned really quick before I get this started. Okay. I have some good. I've decided, I thought about it a lot and I was like, I have some good clips, like not just I'm like, oh, this is a good show that it's super depressing. I'm not to say there's not a lot of depressing things going on, but man, I saw some very inspiring things this morning when I was making the outline for this show. And I was like, oh, thank God. You know when you just feel so drained, you can't take anymore. And then you hear people speaking and saying things that just gives you like renewed hope and like humanity. Hey, Dolphin. Yesterday was Ukraine's Independence Day. I know, ironic, right? And that's I can't. The lies of, and I just want to say, I'll say this because I'm not going to show these clips. I don't think it's helpful for me to show. If I had started, I have them all. I now have 4 interviews full of JD Vance lying specifically about Russia. You know, like basically giving Andrew Jacksons with both hands to Putin while lying with his mouth full time. I'm so torn if it's a good idea to play a bunch of lies. It's the same reason I stopped playing Trumps of Clips. That's the ADHD clips of Trump pathologically lying over and over. Cause as someone that used to work in advertising, I started really questioning if I'm part of the problem when I'm doing that. Like, I don't want to spread Trump's lies any farther. So I'm trying to find other ways. And I think that we have beaten that dead horse. You know, everybody, if you don't know Trump's a liar and by now your brain doesn't work. And you're not necessarily dumb. You can also be in a cult. You could be in cognitive dissonance, right? Because we know neurologically people who are in cults, i.e. the medical terminology would be cognitive dissonance. Like they literally cannot take in information contrary to the lies being told by their cult leader. Like it's near impossible. Oh, I can't remember her name, but that amazing woman, she oh my God, I'm probably going to get it wrong. Does she knit or crochet while she's doing lives? And she was like a captain in the US Army. It's like, and Fax interviews her all the time. And she's written like 2 books and she has like a PhD. One of the most brilliant people I've ever heard speak. You know, she always say, hey, the knitting cult lady. Yeah. I'm like, she knits. That should have probably cued something for me when I'm like, she knits. Yes. She says, if there was an easy answer on how you got people out of cognitive dissonance or out of a cult, like she'd be a billionaire. She would be packaging it and selling it. So I don't think everyone's just straight up dumb. I think some people are in cognitive dissonance and in a cult, and some people are bigots. Some people have a combination of all 3, right? Some people are financially profiting off of the MAGA cottage industry. There's all sorts of reasons that people have decided to turn their spines in and get on their knees for Donald Trump. But what I want to go through first, because, when people announce these like tours or rallies, I'm like, okay, like that's great. And I hope they're good, but I never know like how exciting they're going to be or if they can hold our attention. So these rallies that are being covered by Midas Touch, they are sponsored by like the ground Move On. They do like community organizing and things like that, like actually on the ground. And now it's like a Bob Dylan song. Won't back down. Yeah, because I was saying never back down. I think it's won't back down because I, I was like, it's not never back down. It's won't back down. So if you want to look up, this is going to be a national tour and there's different like legs of this tour. So depending where you are, there's different people speaking in different cities. Yes, Tom Petty. Thank you.
That paper is more sophisticated.
Tom Petty, what the?
Computers.
Forgive me. Forgive me. It's the ADHD. I keep switching ADHD medication. But I was clipping. I was like, let me just watch this rally and see how inspiring it is. Oh my gosh. So Maxwell Frost and Elizabeth Warren were doing one of these rallies on Saturday, and it was amazing. So I just want to play. We're not going to like watch the whole thing, but I clipped the good stuff and I want to play some of it because I think on Mondays particularly it can feel a little hopeless, especially when weird orange grandpa is doing like full court press while what is going on with his hands? Trump's hands are, it must be all the Andrew Jacksons he's giving Putin. We'll get into his hands later, but let me show you. This made me smile so much when I was watching these clips. Yeah. J.D. Vance knows how World War II ended. He's just a pathological liar. Like, J.D. Vance is an example of a very intelligent, like I say, like, hey, not everyone's dumb. Some people are in cognitive dissonance, but some people are financially benefiting off the MAGA cottage industry. Oh, yeah. J.D. Vance is not dumb. J.D. Vance is not in cognitive dissonance. He is actually a pathological liar. He's owned by Peter Thiel, and he's financially backed by him. Every campaign he's ever been won has been funded by Peter Thiel. And then outside of Peter Thiel, he's a religious evangelical extremist. Like, his other backing comes from the Heritage Foundation. J.D. Vance is lying on purpose. Like, he is actually a pathological liar, just to be clear. So yeah, when I say not everyone's dumb, I do think there are some confused people in cognitive dissonance when it comes to Trump. I don't think there's an excuse for it any longer. Like, if you're in, whether you're in cognitive dissonance or you're an idiot, whatever it is, there's no longer an excuse to not educate yourself and figure out who's lying and robbing you. I think it's all of our duties as American citizens. But again, this is Maxwell Frost, Elizabeth Warren on Saturday at a Won't Back Down rally, which there will be more of these if you're interested. I believe they're specifically going to like Republican cities or places like that, where towns that are Republican districts, things of that nature. So if you're a blue dot in a red place, look up the schedule. They may be coming to a town near you. I think it is, it's literally like won'tbackdowntour.com, by the way, if you want to look it up.
You know, a few months ago, our governor, you might have heard of him, Ron DeSantis. The guy who eats the yogurt with his fingers. He announced that he was going to build essentially an internment camp in the middle of the Everglades for immigrants.
Is more sophisticated now.
He called this place so-called Alligator Alcatraz. And so about a month and a half ago, I became one of the first politicians to go in and use my power of oversight to look at what the hell is going on in there. But I didn't go there to go on a field trip. I went in there to see what was going on, to tell the public, but not just tell the public, but to tell our partners, the Friends of the Everglades, the Miccosukee Tribe, and the Center for Biological Diversity, that engaged in a lawsuit to close the place down. And we just heard about 24 hours ago that the judge has ruled that Alligator Alcatraz has to shut down. They can't send another immigrant to that place. And I bring this up because we're in this moment. I know a lot of us feel defeated. I know a lot of us feel like we don't have power, but we do have power. We do have power. And politicians, look, I used to say this on the front lines of the Black Lives Matter protests. When you don't have all the power you want, you damn well use all the power you got. And we know we don't have every lever we want. But we know that as members of Congress, we can go inside these places and not just shine a light on what's going on, but work with partners to sue the hell out of them and get these places closed down. And a few months ago,
So are people saying we do, he's not saying the United States citizens don't have power. He's saying in Congress, because they don't hold the majority in the Senate, they don't hold the majority in the House, they don't hold the executive branch. There's a conservative majority on the Supreme Court. That's what he means. But he's saying, hey, I have the power of congressional oversight. I can show up to any ICE facility in my district and legally do on the spot oversight anytime I want, which he's gone back 2 or 3 times, right? I mean, that's what I'd be doing. If you're a congressperson who's constantly getting reports that people are being tortured inside of non-certified ICE facilities so that billionaires can get rich, so that other Congress people can do some insider trading and take huge positions in Geo Group and Core Civic, which I always point out, if you want to find out who's profiting off of us creating concentration camps, go to opensecrets.org and look at who has accepted the majority of donations from Geo Group and Core Civic. I'll give you a hint. It's conservatives. Not to say there are no Democrats that have taken money from those people, because there are, but the vast majority, I think it's 70% of that money went to the executive branch, to Donald Trump, and then to Republican Congress people. And that's why they passed these bills. That is why, what are the 2 largest law enforcement agencies? Now, stay with me, conservatives. This is how you guys are either dumb or giant hypocrites, right? You are supposed to be draining the swamp. You're not supposed to be growing the size of the federal government and illegally profiting off of concentration camps. But ICE is now the largest law enforcement group in the country, and second is what? The Bureau of Prisons, because this is a grift. And what we know, for-profit prisons, we had 25% of the world's prisoners. Well, before Bukele decided to disappear half his country. But literally, we have over 25% of the world's prisoners. And when did that happen? When we created for-profit prisons. And if you don't believe me, you can look this up. It was Biden that tried to do away with for-profit federal prisons. And the minute Trump got back in office, he's taking all of our tax dollars and fighting a problem that doesn't exist. We know there is no immigrant crime problem. There's no statistical correlation between immigration and crime. We have a bigger problem with white male American citizens committing violent crime in this country than we do with immigrants committing crime. But for some reason, we're funneling all this money into a problem that doesn't exist so that corporations, billionaires, and politicians can privately profit off of it. It is unconscionable. Please do follow me. Again, this is the People's Receipts. I used to do a lot of things. I used to be a teacher. I was a history major. I was a historical researcher for my professors, which is what a lot of history majors do. And I'm using primary and secondary resources essentially to debunk all of Trump's lies, which it is definitely a full-time job. So if you're new here, please follow me. This is my Cash App and Venmo. This is my job. My ability to do this just relies on tips and donations. If you would like to subscribe, that is that yellow star in the left-hand corner, which normally I used to be almost at 600 subscriptions, but they've dwindled off. So if you would like to help me, this is the sub goal. That is, you can buy subscriptions for others for a month or whatever. Help me meet my sub goal. And then also, let's tap the screen We're at 25K. Let's keep tapping. Let's get to 100K. Tapping the screen is free. If you would like to support me, tap, tap, tap. Let's get to 100K as fast as possible and share the live, because I have some really good clips today, especially these. I almost didn't want to start with them because I was like, I want to make sure as many people are in here as possible, because this rally on Saturday, this was in Omaha, by the way. If you're like, where is it? I believe this one was in Omaha. The Won't Back Down tour is specifically going to like red cities, I believe, in red states. And you can see in this corner, sorry, my iPad. Need a counterweight. Won'tbackdowntour.com. You see there on the bottom. If you want to look up the schedule and see if they're going to come to a neighborhood near you, that is how you look up the schedule. And there's different teams. Like this is Elizabeth Warren and Maxwell Frost. I know Chris Murphy's doing it with someone else. There's all, I think, different groups going to different places.
And I'm so proud to be here at the Won't Back Down tour, because now we have our eyes fixed on 2026, the midterms. And let me tell you something you already know. Donald Trump knows if the election were held today, they would lose. Donald Trump knows that when the election is held in November next year, they will lose. That's why he came out and he said blatantly, Texas, I want you to redraw your lines to get me 4 to 5 new seats. That's why he's telling other states that are run by Republicans, we need you to redistrict so we can get more seats. Because he knows they can't win, so he wants to cheat. The same thing he's done his entire life. But I'll tell you, something else I feel really good about is what California's doing. They're saying, we're not going to let you do this without a fight. And even when, think about this, even when Democrats, when we have to do something we're not necessarily fully proud of, but we know we have to do to protect democracy, even then we do it differently, because California is putting it on the ballot to put it to the people. And that will make the victory even more sweeter when that ballot proposal passes in November.
God, the grammar teacher me can't stand double comparatives. It's sweeter or more. I mean, you know. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. I showed some of this on Friday, and it was enraging me. So on Fox News, they are doing what they usually do, which is lie to a group of idiots who are the people that watch. If you watch Fox News, let me put it this way: if you watch Fox News and you think that they are telling you the truth, which my father is one. People know I live with my father. Like, I take care of him. He's kind of sick. Well, we take care of each other in a lot of ways. But I love him very much. But that man is down the far right rabbit hole. I mean, he watches YouTube and just the algorithm just plays him like Fox News clips like all day long. And I'm like, we stopped talking about this stuff because some of our arguments have become, they get very, I'm not going to say violent. So I just have to leave him alone about that because I'm worried about his health. But if you're a person who watches Fox News and you're like, nailed it, then you're an idiot. Because none of that stuff is true. And my dad doesn't. My dad has a flip phone. That's what I keep telling. This is one of the things I tell myself. My dad also couldn't use a computer to save his life. But if you have a supercomputer and you are like, Fox News is nailing it, or you listen to Donald Trump speak and you're like, nailed it, that must be true. The only explanation at this point is that you are an idiot. Truly. If you have a supercomputer, and let me just tell you how to do it because I love cloud-based query. Just write fact check : into your browser, copy and paste whatever claim Trump made, and it will correct it. If you stop showing up on the internet trying to debate people. There was a very embarrassing gentleman on Friday that tried to come up here yelling Pocahontas because a law professor / economics economist, Elizabeth Warren, was speaking, and the only thing he knows, not that Elizabeth Warren has never said an untrue thing in her life. She's passed the bar. She's absolutely brilliant. She's basically an economist. She tells the truth at every turn. The only thing that idiots that follow Donald Trump know about her is that Trump made a racial slur about her. I mean, that's it. If you are that dumb, if you stop at Russia, 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 if you stop at Pocahontas, if you stop at, and the reason I'm going somewhere with this, you heard him say, I feel good about California. The idiotic narrative on Fox News is that Democrats have been gerrymandering for years. Let me help you. That is not true, and you have a supercomputer to find out that that's not true. It is the Democratic Party, it is Democrats in Congress who have voted along party lines, and I think there might have been one or two Republicans. I don't want to say it was completely on party lines. I think there were a couple stray Republicans, but it is the Democrats that have brought bills in the House and voted yes on them in the Senate to do what? To stop nationwide gerrymandering, because we will benefit from that. If Republicans stop cheating, stop suppressing the vote, stop gerrymandering within an inch of their lives, the Democrats benefit. I want every person to vote for whoever they want. But if you're an American citizen, I want you to be able to vote, right? It is Republicans that have a history of gerrymandering. Let me say that differently. Conservatives have a history of gerrymandering that goes back to what? Reconstruction and Jim Crow laws in the South. That is where this all started. Conservatives in the South stopping Black people from voting. It is Democrats that continue to introduce bills and attempt to introduce bills to end gerrymandering. And when you say dumb things, because I had to stop debating because MAGA men are not smart. They have no idea what they're talking about. And they'll be like, have you never gerrymandered? Have you never gerrymandered everything? Let me help you with the line of logic you're on. If you're saying, well, what about the Democrats? We are the ones that are saying, let's all agree to never gerrymander again. Let's have independent commissions draw fair maps in every state. No one will ever be able to gerrymander again. It is Republicans that vote that down. And if your argument is, but what about the Democrats? Have they ever gerrymandered? You are saying, hey, we want you to bend over and take it as we cheat. We want to disenfranchise brown and Black people. We want to disenfranchise women. We want to stop as many people as we can from voting. And if you do anything to fight back and make things fair, then I'm going to get mad. Like, what are you talking about? You guys, conservative males, you guys bend over, and not even for a smart person. You guys bend over for a guy who has a full face of makeup on that looks terrible, who is so dumb, he literally can't form a sentence. I have a couple of clips to show you today of what your fearless leader is up to. Literally could not find his way out of a paper bag. And you're talking to us about fairness? You guys are delusional. And I see that there's someone in the comments. This is not the place for you. If you are dumb. Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Clayton Bigsby, which is, I feel like if you're a white man, that's might be racist. Are you one of them panhandling hosts? There's a group of y'all. If by panhandling host you mean someone overqualified to be doing what I'm doing and engaging in free market capitalism, which is your dream, not mine, then yes. And you are too dumb to know that I am existing in your idea of an economy. Even though you're an idiot who's being robbed and can't do math, I'm just doing what you told me to do, which is I'm here. I used to be a real teacher, right? And I'm just on the internet saying, hey, I'm going to teach you some stuff using primary and secondary resources. You decide what that's worth to you. This is Cash App and Venmo. You can subscribe. You can give me gifts. This is literal free market capitalism. This is your dream. And then you're saying that we're grifters. Let me help you with what a grifter is. There is a grifter in the White House who's selling gold tennies you can buy on Temu for $2 for $1,000. There's a grifter in the White House who, you guys are too dumb to do math, so you don't understand the last bill was the largest transfer of wealth to the top of the economy in history. There's a grifter in the White House who's bought $100+ billion of bonds. So every bill, and he's invalidated the legislative branch and controls how every Republican votes. So whatever legislation he passes, he is financially profiting off of.
The paper is more sophisticated now than
you can't, all you're telling me when you sit in the comments and say dumb things like I'm a grifter, just raise your hand and say I'm an idiot. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm an insecure white male with a small d following another insecure orange male with an even smaller d. And I just wander around on the internet yelling idiot things. Figure out who has your money. Let me help you. It's not me. It's not brown and black people. Donald Trump has your money. Maybe you should go ask for it back. But you won't, because you're an idiot. Period.
And I'm so proud to be here at the Won't Back Down tour, because now we have our eyes.
I think I played that clip. Oh, yes, this is good.
The fact of the matter is Donald Trump traveled this nation and lied to everyone. Told people the reason you can't pay your rent is because of that trans kid. The reason that you can't afford your health care.
This is for you, the idiot MAGA men in the comments. This is for you. Donald Trump said brown people have your money and you're dumb enough to believe it. You are an idiot. This is for you.
The fact of the matter is Donald Trump traveled this nation and lied to everyone. Told people the reason you can't pay your rent is because of that trans kid. The reason that you can't afford your health care, or the reason you're one hospital visit away from being on the streets, is because of that immigrant. But we have to tell the truth. See, these billionaires want us to look at each other. They want us to look at each other and blame our neighbors instead of looking up and blaming them. Instead of looking up and blaming them. It's not... You not being able to pay your rent doesn't have to do with trans people, but it has to do with private equity and billionaires that have bought up all the homes and apartments and have got the rent up too damn high. That the reason you can't afford your health care is because we have a broken healthcare system in this country. That isn't even a healthcare system, it's a sickness care system that makes money off when we get sick. And we're not interested in these solutions that are going to fix some things for some people if you fall in this bracket at this time. But we have to be for big solutions that say healthcare is a human right. Everybody in this country deserves to be healthy. That in the richest country on the face of the earth, no one should sleep on the streets. Everybody should have a roof over their head. And that this message, even though we're going to beat congressional Republicans and take the House back, when it comes down to the people, this message isn't about T versus R. This message is about the people versus the problem. The people versus the problem. The fact of the matter is Donald Trump...
And I'm sorry, if anyone's wondering where Clayton Bigsby, that shit is racist. Like, I was looking at that person's profile. That's a white person cosplaying. Like, that shit's racist, so they got blocked. And I just want to clarify, again, this is not time for people in the comments to be uneducated idiots. This is where people whose brains do work gather together, use math and primary and secondary resources to talk about how dumb you are and what we're going to do about it. So if you continue to say uneducated things and distract people and waste time, I will block you as well. Like, nobody is immune to being blocked or silenced for the entire live. Like, at what time when I block someone, my favorite thing is this guy showed up on Pickles Lives and started screaming that I had violated his First Amendment rights. And And that's how dumb MAGA is. I used to think that they all knew something about the Constitution. If you think that me silencing you while I'm trying to educate people violates your First Amendment rights, that's just another example of how dumb you are. The examples are endless. I spend the rest of my life pointing out how dumb MAGA men are and how insecure. Thank you, Ruckus, for the info you provide is so valuable. Thank you for the $10 on Cash App. I appreciate it so, so much. Again, your tips and donations mean the world to me, and it allows me to do this. I can't remember who I saw. I think it was another insecure MAGA man said I'm wasting my teaching degree. No, the dumbest people in this country, and I mean this because I was a second grade teacher, the dumbest people in this country are adults. The most uneducated people, cross-section of people of the voter base, are MAGA men. Truly. So no, this is actually, and it's a long story, but I have ADHD and all sorts of things going, I'm very neurodivergent. So what I'm doing here is, like I used to say, I want to educate and teach people about things on the internet in a way that I think it's easier to learn. And this is, I think, the best way to learn. So that's what I'm doing. Wait, hold on. So I saw someone write that someone's threatening someone in the comments. Hold on. I'm just going to block. We're not having threats. So just let me scroll back up. Yeah. Okay. Real talk. I get it now. That's right. Real talk's making threats against people in the comments. I've never, listen, I'm not a cop caller. I don't report anyone, so I won't. But that is a very strange threat to make on the internet. You do you. You do you, weirdo. Okay. Moving along. And I will update the gift goal. Thank you.
And when I was about 12.
Where are all these people? Hold on a second. Let me just... General Shields, I have requested you to come up here and explain what you mean. I used to debate all the time. It's just all of you are too dumb for me to waste my time on. But if you want to make a cogent argument of what you're saying, Democrats are too dumb to govern their own affairs. That's a very strange claim of which you set yourself up for failure in that debate, but I'll take it. It's so weird that you're not up here, General Shields. That's so strange. MAGA men are tiny little cowards. You invite them up and they don't show up. Anyways, sorry, I blocked him too. I'm not doing this today. I have too many intelligent people that have things to say that I need to show you guys to deal with it.
And when I was about 12, my daddy had a heart attack, and it nearly wiped us out. The bills piled up, we lost the car, and we came about that close to losing our home. And I remember the day that I walked into my parents' bedroom, and my mother, her face was red and puffy, and she was walking back and forth, and she was saying, "We will not lose this house. We will not lose this house. We will not lose this house." She was terrified. And I was 12 years old looking at her, and I was terrified. And my mother did what a lot of mamas had done. She pulled on her best dress, she put on her high heel shoes, she walked to the Sears, and she got a minimum wage job answering phones. And that minimum wage job saved our house, and it saved our family. My mother, my brothers, they taught me about courage, and they taught me about people who fight for what they believe in. They taught me about people who fight for their families, who fight for their neighbors, who fight for their communities, who fight for their country. I am proud of that America. America, and I use my voice as best I can to fight for that America. Because that is not the America that Donald Trump wants to build. Donald Trump's America is an America where every day billionaires get richer. Every day, you, good families, hardworking families, are asked to give up just a little more so that billionaires can buy another island, can buy another yacht. Well, I am here with my friend Maxwell Frost to say I believe in an America that works for all of us, and we will not back down. And
I love it. And I wanted to say, and like, there's an article in Fortune, which I don't know if anyone's into finance like I am. I love the stock market and watching the way numbers move. And that is absolutely right. The transfers of wealth in this country, I think the most egregious example was the big, beautiful bill. If you're in here defending Trump, you should understand he robbed you. Republicans robbed you. Billionaires robbed you. Corporations robbed you. And now they're continuing to rob you, which I'll get into later. But one of the scariest articles I've ever seen came out like last Thursday in Fortune. It's called "The Nation's Finances Have Deteriorated," which, I mean, deteriorated is a nice word, since Trump took office. CRFB says is gaming out scenarios up to a 28.5 trillion deficit. And remember when we were trying to stop the big but beautiful bill from being passed? Not just because people were going to lose their health care. Another big problem was we were going to have to borrow like $5 trillion immediately. And in order to pass it, they just changed the baseline math that they use. Lindsey Graham made up new math. Remember I talked about this in detail about how wrong it was that they were saying billions of dollars was actually worth $0. That is what they say. If you do the real math, if you calculate how much Trump is spending over the next 10 years, the deficit could be up to 28.5 trillion. That's the reality. If you use real math, not fake conservative math to cover up that they were robbing all of us. And even in their math, they're borrowing $5 trillion, which that affects us, right? That affects our auto loans, our mortgages, everything immediately. I could go on. And then, Trump said he collected trillions in tariff revenue. That's an absolute lie. It's around like 200 billion. Which, if I know, I've realized MAGA men don't understand numbers. That's like change you find in your couch compared to the money the loan you're going to have to take out to support all the bullshit Trump is doing. The deficit has been blown out. Everything you accuse Democrats of,
that paper is more sophisticated,
conservatives are guilty of. Period. That's it. Since in the modern era, since Clinton, we have paid down Clinton, they balanced the budget. After that, Republicans have blown out the deficit and we have paid it down every single time, including in Trump's first term, blew out the deficit, the third most in modern presidential history. And Joe Biden did what? During COVID, paid down the deficit. If you don't believe me, which I know you guys don't, because you can't do math and you can't read. So how would you know that? But you can look it up. And just know, Elizabeth Warren is smarter than you, insecure MAGA men, and so am I.
so I want to remind you all, put you back a year ago. Right now, And you may remember, we're in the middle of this presidential, and Donald Trump is out there making promises. Remember those promises? He said with a single phone call, he would end the war in Ukraine. Yeah. He said only he would end the war in Gaza. Just like that. Remember that?
Trump must be really terrible at blowing Putin because he's been doing it for 8 months. I just want to clarify. Trump has been on his knees for Putin for 8 months, and the war in Ukraine has escalated. The attacks have gotten worse. More children have been kidnapped. More civilian, and believe me, these are not government sites that Putin's attacking. These are civilians, apartment buildings, hospitals, hotels. They're leaking radiation into Ukraine. 8 months of Trump on his knees for Putin, and it must be awful, which I get. I've heard about the smell. So, yeah, it's not working.
And I think I remember he said he would release all of the Epstein files. Now, so what happens? Donald Trump now, he can't remember any of that. He can't talk about any of that. Accountability is what a democracy is about. And let's just be really clear with Donald Trump. We want to help the Ukrainians when they fight back against a Russian invasion. We want to put an end to the war in Gaza and feed those starving children. And Buster, we want to see all of the Epstein files. But there was one promise Donald Trump made every day. Multiple times a day. He said to people all across this country, and this was the one people heard. Independents heard it. Democrats heard it. Republicans heard it. And that is that Donald Trump, on day one, his words, on day one would lower costs for American families. On day one. On day one. We're now on day 215. And what has happened to the cost of groceries? Up. What's happened to the cost of utilities? What's happened to the cost of housing? And the cost of school shoes and backpacks and baby strollers? Up, up, up. And what is Donald Trump doing about it? It's worse than nothing. On groceries. He gets out there and creates chaos on tariffs so that your grocery bill goes up. On utilities, he cancels clean energy projects that would help bring down your costs. Exactly.
I didn't even realize that clip. That's a great point to end the clip, because I just want to point out another thing insecure MAGA men don't know because they can't read or do math. When I used to waste my time debating, well, what goes on TikTok is not debate. Correcting idiots, fact-checking idiots is not speech and debate. So I just want to point out there is no debate going on TikTok. That's not what speech and debate is. There's just people correcting dumb people, which is a waste of time, because then those same dumb people show up in 10 more lives saying the exact same dumb things. And after I watch that they'll even pretend to have learned something, and then they will be in the next. Okay, God, why are people so dumb? Stock Cat, you literally said Biden paid down the debt and lied, please. I said the deficit, Cat, because you can't hear words. The debt is not the deficit. Stock Cat, and you will get blocked too. I don't have time for dumb people saying dumb things and distracting people. I said, in modern politics, since Clinton balanced the budget, and then Republicans shot the deficit up, and we drove the deficit back down. That is what I said. Oh my God. No, Cat. Yeah. And again, let me read you the Fortune article The Nation, this is from 3 days ago from Fortune. The nation's finances have deteriorated since Trump took office, gaming out scenarios up to a $28.5 trillion deficit. We are borrowing $5 trillion because of the deficit. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just an idiot. You shouldn't carry water for people that don't care about you. You sound dumb and you continue embarrassing yourself. Anyways, wait, hold on. I lost my train of thought because an idiot was distracting me from something. I have to remember what she said right at the end because I needed to make a factual point.
He gets out there and creates chaos on tariffs so that your grocery bill goes up. On utilities, he can't.
Oh, yeah, I remember now. When I used to debate on TikTok, one of the things I would have to correct all the time was they would say, well, Trump says that Biden just stopped LNG exports. No, he stopped new contracts of LNG exports. We were always energy independent. We were always exporting more energy. We're the number one exporter of liquid natural gas under Biden in the world. The reason they paused new contracts was to help conservatives who can't read or do math. Right? Because what they were doing was what we call, and I always talk about, this is why it's important to learn about math. It's something called an impact study, which is statistical analysis. They realized if they continued putting out government contracts to export liquid natural gas to other countries, the effects of that, which by the way, and I've read this report, I've gone through it, I think around 4 weeks ago, I put it in the Discord. The effects of continuing to give out new LNG contracts and continue the up and to the right graph of LNG exports is what? Local energy prices, particularly in the South, in conservative areas, are going to skyrocket. And not a little, like 600 times, like energy bills will increase. And that's not even considering Trump has been bribed by oil and gas to pretend wind is bad. Like, that's going to rise energy bills, like in the Northeast and places like the Northern Jet Stream, where you benefit from wind energy, right? In Arizona, where I live, solar is super valuable. And those tax cuts for having solar panels have just gone away. Like, the way to keep the cost of energy down in the United States is to have a diverse plan, right? We do need to shift towards clean energy, but we need to have all types of energy available to drive costs down. And that's the truth. I invite anybody, Mr. Global talks about it all the time. When we continue, because who gets rich by liquid natural gas exports? This is not a socialist country. You're not benefiting. Right? We're the only developed country in the world without universal health care. You get nothing. Billionaires get richer. Corporations get richer, right? That's what capitalism is about. Privatized profit. You get nothing. You just pay more for your energy bill. The cost of every category, almost every category in the price index is up. That's the reality. Like the price index, which usually the price index looks more stable when you remove food and energy. And actually, yeah, it's the price index without food and energy from June is abysmal. It's actually higher. I think it's like at 3-something% costs raised in July. It's terrible. Like none of that is reality. I forgot. There's one more point I want to make, but I feel like it was important, but I don't remember it. So we're going to move on. Oh, I do remember one thing I didn't do. Ave, thank you so much for the $20 on Cash App. This is my Cash App and Venmo. Get it, Felice. Thanks for the receipts. I appreciate you. Oh, and one more.
More sophisticated now than computers.
Thank you, Heather. I love repeating numbers and repetition and alliteration. You yelling at mediocre white men is the best part of my day. Love it. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the $8.88, Heather. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure no one's harassing anyone. I can't watch. No, stop, Kat. You're so wrong, and you're just distracting people from learning. You're not correct. You're not correct, and you have no idea what you're talking about. You're an idiot. Sorry. And I want to say this. Most of the mean things I say are directed towards white males because I don't think you should carry water for conservatives. They don't believe your brain works. In fact, they want to take your right to vote. They are literally disempowering women. They don't even believe you're smart enough to make decisions about your body. So I just want to say, I don't fight with women online. So if you continue spreading disinformation in my live, I'm just going to block you. That's you have not got one thing right. And if you said something right, I would tell you that's not right. It scares me that you don't even know where to find the information that you're spreading disinformation about. Yeah, definitely leave. Oh, thanks, Jared blocked him. I didn't do that. Sorry, Kat, but yeah, I don't want to fight with women online. I refuse to, because if you're a conservative woman, I mean, nobody respects you anyway, so I don't need to be mean to you. It's not my bag.
healthcare because I think this is really important, and we don't defend enough what we're trying to do here. You know, we don't know whose baby.
Just want to respond to one thing I saw in the comments. Who said that? Stookie said 8954 said, "Is Matt okay?" Matt is okay, by the way. He is in the streets in DC right now. USMC angry that he actually just. It's very ironic you just asked that question because he just texted me. We're not going to do our regular live tomorrow. I might do another episode of the People's Receipts. I don't know. I have some things I usually use Tuesday to do like doctor's appointments and take care of my dad and things. So we'll see. But yeah, Matt is okay. He literally just texted me. He is in the streets in DC. And so as of now, he's okay. But that's all I know. And we won't do, yeah, that's another story. Sorry. I'm reading comments. That's a different story, but yeah, Matt is okay right now. Like 10 minutes ago, he just texted me and said he's okay and he'll update me. But yeah, he's in DC, involved in some protests and some interviews and things of that nature. So if I get more information, I'll let you know. But I know as of 10 minutes ago, Matt is okay.
Healthcare, because I think this is really important, and we don't defend enough what we're trying to do here. You know, we don't know whose baby is going to be born and run up $1 million in medical bills before they ever make it out of the hospital. Right? We don't know whose best friend is going to get hit by a bus and need a home health aide and a wheelchair to be able to live independently. We don't know whose grandma is going to outlive her savings. So we are Americans. We are people who say every one of us is going to pitch in some of our nickels, and we're going to make sure that if it's your sister's baby, if it's your best friend, if it's your grandma, we are all here for each other to make sure that they get the care they need.
Let me say, some people are like, that's socialism because I'm an idiot that doesn't know what I'm talking about. No, like that's what you do at your work. Understand that. Insurance that you think your work is paying for, I mean, most idiots know you're paying for it, right? It's just depending on how big the corporation you work at, you're creating a pool, paying into that pool every single month. And when someone at your corporation gets ill or their child gets ill or whatever, then that money you guys all pooled together, right, pays for that illness. Now, that's what we call collective bargaining. That's happening in capitalism. They're not paying for your damn insurance. You're paying for it in a pool of the people that work at your company, right? Now, in collective bargaining, the most power comes from the biggest pool of people. So we could all break off, and corporations aren't even giving out healthcare anymore. In the golden age of capitalism, corporations gave you pensions. They paid for you to retire. Not only do they not do that shit, they do not pay for healthcare anymore. Period. The way we can collective bargain and have the most power is to be however many people in the US now, what is it, 360 million or something? We collective bargain as a whole against insurance companies, against big pharma. That's how we lower the cost of healthcare. And it's whenever people say we can't afford that, yes, we can. If you don't know that, then you've never looked at the U.S. budget. You don't understand how much money we're taking in. If we can afford today to give Elon Musk $8 million a day in government contracts, he's the biggest welfare queen in this country. They're trying to take $65 a day that our grandparents are living on. Elon Musk is given $8 million a day in government welfare and government contracts. There's always more money to give to the military, not for our defense. Don't be dumb. Not for the veterans. The veterans don't have anything. The veterans are not well. That money is for what? Military contractors, which are tech companies and other giant corporations continuing to suck off the socialist teat. That's what this is. You want to talk about who's getting actual socialism? corporations and billionaires. That is socialism. I've never correctly, no, that's not true. I don't want to say that. There are some smart conservatives on this app who can identify what socialism is. But yeah, who receives socialism in this country are corporations and billionaires. That's where the socialism is going.
Donald Trump and every single Republican in Congress.
And I just want to point out, Heidi in the comments made a great point too. We wouldn't need welfare if companies paid us appropriately. Yeah, I once was showing a graph recently about how, corporations or like the National Restaurant Association, they lobby to be able to pay slave wages. Like if the minimum wage paced with profits, I think it would be somewhere around $26 or $27 an hour today. It's at whatever. What is it? 7? Is it 7? Is it at least at 7? I think, is it 7.25? Like, it's something abysmal. Like, it's absolutely horrible. And there's no insurance, there's no benefits, and that's corporations lobbying Congress so they don't have to give people a living wage and they don't have to give people benefits. 7.25. Okay, thank you. I was like, I almost said 7.50 and I was like, that's too much.
Including 5 Republicans right here in Nebraska, all voted to say we're going to slice into that program and take 10 million people, little babies, best friends, and grandmas, and tell them no more care for you. That is the Republican Party Donald Trump is building. And we are here today to say that we will get in this fight because those are the kind of people we are. We are the people who care for our families. We are the people who take care of our neighbors. We are the people who will fight for care for our babies, for our best friends, and for our grandmas. You will not take it away, not on our watch. Healthcare, because I think
42%. Remember, you're trying to force women to give birth, white men. Remember, your goal is to, hey, the reason, you remember white incels in this country, you were trying to force women to have sex with you and have your baby. 42% of babies in this country are born on Medicaid. That you've taken that away. Rural hospitals are going to close where you live. That's what she's talking about. And why? That's the big, beautiful bill takes health care from the baby to birth babies. 42% of babies, their births are paid for by Medicaid. You've taken that away. Medicare, the $65 a day our grandparents or our parents are getting to retire, you're trying to take that away. Why would you be taking that away? To give more tax breaks to billionaires and corporations. That's the facts. And I've said this before, and I think I'm trying to, I forgot the think tank. I was using, the Cato Institute, a far right think tank. Because when I talk to MAGA, I try to use sources that they believe are reputable so that, they'll listen more. The Cato Institute, right? Like, nobody's getting a tax cut. You have to understand that. Trump lied. He spent like hundreds of million dollars on commercials saying, if the big, beautiful bill isn't passed, you won't get your tax cuts. That's a lie. Biden's budget, Kamala Harris' budget continued the same tax cuts for the middle class as they should, which, by the way, Steve Bannon agreed with. I watch Steve Bannon's show a lot. I used to watch it every day. I played clips. Steve Bannon said the same. The tax cuts should continue for the middle and lower classes, not for the rich, not for corporations. Period. And I agree. There's a lot of things the far right in terms of fiscal, the real far right, not MAGA. You're not fiscally conservative whatsoever. But yeah, I do think the middle class and the poor needed to continue those tax cuts. Kamala Harris's real budget did that. But now we've all been robbed. And oh, sorry, I didn't finish my point. And I used to use the Cato Institute's math to show that when you're counting up, like whether you're getting a tax cut or not, understand tariffs are a tax, right? When Trump's like, he's lying when he says we're not bringing in trillions of tariffs. But if we were, that would be him stealing from the middle and lower classes and levying another tax. We pay state tax, we pay federal tax, and tariffs are a new tax. Tariffs are a regressive tax, right? That's why we used to have a progressive tax rate to recirculate money from the top of the economy, period. So tariffs are a regressive tax. So you can't just look at the big, beautiful bill and be like, oh, I got my tax cut. No, every time you buy something, you're being taxed. But you're not smart enough to realize that. And because we have less expendable income, there's no middle class anymore. We're all just poor, right? It's a regressive tax that is causing a transfer of wealth to the top of the economy. That's so funny. The real King Human said, so when the USA collapses, does MAGA blame Biden? I have a clip and I'm feeling good today. So I'm going to try to be live as long as possible and get to all, because I have such a good presentation today and get to all this shit. That's really funny you say that because, I think it's Jared Moskowitz was like on I can't remember which channel this morning, just screaming, are we still blaming Biden?
Not. And understand this, I'm not talking in the abstract. Set your watches. In September, the Republicans are going to need to get a budget through to keep the government open. And to do that, they're going to need some Democratic votes. Okay, you want my vote, and I hope the votes of the rest of these Democrats, then by golly, you can restore health care for 10 million Americans.
When I heard this, I was like, someone go gather up Chuck Schumer because he is the limpy gazelle. And what's the wrestler that hit his head too many times from Pennsylvania? We don't worry about you, Elizabeth Warren, but can someone go gather up the people that ruined it so many times for us? What? Oh my God, why can't I remember the senator from Pennsylvania's name? What is that guy's name? Fetterman. Someone go get Fetterman and deliver it. Like, I'm not convinced Fetterman can do math. Chuck Schumer, I don't know what he's up to. He's starting to scare me. Like, so I believe you, Elizabeth. I believe the Democrats in the House, led by Hakeem Jeffries, will vote in lockstep on this. I don't, the stragglers in the Senate always scare me. Like senators, and I'm saying this, and I think I've had a lot of conversation with the smarter people on the far right. Like I've had a few good debates on TikTok as well. That, like, let's say 90% of the people I talked to on TikTok were idiots, and no, wait, 98. And then there were like probably 10 people I've talked to I had a really good conversation with. And yeah, like the Senate, right? There are 50 people representing the United States in the Senate, and those are the good old boys, right? Those are people who are insider trading, who've had, who have had these relationships with K Street. K Street is where all the lobbying groups are that represent corporations and foreign entities are in DC. Like the Senate is the swamp. Like you could just see them like backstroking around in there. Like we gotta all keep our eye on the Senate. They're all robbing us. And I'll say again, the Unusual Whales report tracks over, that's unusual whales, like people outperforming the stock market in Congress with their trades. And then opensecrets.org, and you can see where all of this lobbying money is going. Follow the money. These people are corrupt AF. Or they're passing laws because they have hundreds of millions of dollars. Like the richest guy in the Senate, I think, is Rick Scott, right? Senator Rick Scott presided over the largest Medicare fraud in Texas, got his golden parachute, fled, now is a senator in Florida. Like these people are disgusting. Like don't and I mean that. I look sideways at a lot of Democrats. You get in there too long. And I'll say this, we have 2 Democratic senators in Arizona, but to be elected in Arizona, you've got to be moderate, right? They're not getting on board with any progressives. Like Ruben Gallego, Cory Booker. I talk about this all the time. Cory Booker was another one. These people voted for that crypto bill. Like, to have a backdoor to the U.S. Bitcoin crypto treasury. I mean, that shit we have to keep our eye on the U.S. Senate. Like, they are being given money to vote for things, which I think Ruben Gallego we replaced Kirsten Sinema with Ruben Gallego. Thank God. Like, that was a good trade. Much less corrupt. But like Kirsten Sinema came into the Senate. She was the junior Arizona senator, came into the Senate with like 60 grand and left with like 12 million. So follow the money. Like, and I say that to say, and I've talked about this before, I'm not saying necessarily point at your senator and be like, I hate you. We have to change the laws. We have to get people who are progressive enough or who we pressure enough, right? We can pressure enough to get money out of politics. Like, I talk about this all the time with libertarians. I get it. Like, on the Republican side, you've been told like printing money is the problem. Printing money is the problem. Printing money is not the problem. You're stopping thinking. Like, as a teacher, I would say, no, don't stop thinking there. The question is why? Why are we printing money? And once you can answer that question, you will know why we have to get money out of politics. This government is being controlled by corporations and billionaires. We have, as long as it takes $2-3 billion to elect a president, we're what we want as people doesn't matter, right or left. None of it matters. We have got to get corporations. Oh God, I don't know how we're going to stop John Roberts. He is a problem. You know which we'll get into this later. John Roberts, the Supreme Court Justice, the Roberts Court, he is the controlling, I'm pretty sure, like, vote of the Smithsonian. So everything Trump's yelling about the Smithsonian, how he's going to dismantle it, you know who actually is the chair of the Smithsonian? It's Chief Justice John Roberts. Because when I keep hearing people saying they're going to do crazy things, I started to look into it. So whatever happens to that Smithsonian, just know the chair is Chief Justice John Roberts. If he lets Trump deny slavery happen, that's because he wants that. He thinks that's okay. So I'm just saying, I was like, God, Trump's in charge of the Smithsonian. Like, how could he be in charge? Who's in charge of the Smithsonian? It's Chief Justice John Roberts. No joke. Let's keep tapping the screen, by the way. We should be at 200. Oh, the SCOTUS is so corrupt. That's a whole nother story, Jer. We don't have time to go into the corruption. Oh, Felice, you're my hero on TikTok. Love you, Billy in Denver. Thank you for the $3 on Venmo. I appreciate that so much. Also, I appreciate the message. Because, like, for every message you guys send me on Cash App and Venmo, believe me, I get a lot of not great messages. So I do. It's just... Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And like, I try to read the comments and interact. Someone said, I wish you were my teacher in college. Yeah, like, I am neurodivergent. I always think like, God, how would I have wanted to be taught if I had a choice? And this is it, right? Like, not just listening to a teacher drone on, but like, hey, I'm not going to just talk. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a bunch of people saying different things. This is how I would have liked to learn. That is the goal, to make it fun to get information and not just me being like, I know everything. I'm a content creator. I'm going to talk at you so I can clip it all and make money off of it. No, I want you to see what's going on, just like the way I do.
We're going to take some questions from the audience in just 1 second, but I do have one more question for you guys, both of you guys. What's your plan to message around not only the National Guard deployment to D.C., but now it seems like we have 19 more states it was. Senator Warren, you want to hop in?
Oh, let me just start with, it's time for the District of Columbia to be a state.
Yep.
know why they're not? Who keeps voting that down? Conservatives.
We need, in America, to pass a Voting Rights Act. And that means that everybody has access to the vote. It means no more gerrymandering anywhere. And by golly, it means DC statehood.
We're
And Puerto Rican statehood. But the reason, like, this would affect the Electoral College, which would all, that's the problem. Just understand the reason that when we tried to bring a bill in Congress and every Republican voted for it, which was to say nobody can gerrymander. We don't want to gerrymander. Conservatives, stop gerrymandering. Let's just all agree it stops. Let's have independent commissions draw fair maps. Let's pass a Voting Rights Act so every person entitled to vote is not disenfranchised. And of course, conservatives were like, absolutely not. They don't want to make DC a state because they think it's too liberal. Same thing with Puerto Rico. They deny Puerto Rico because it's too brown. It's too black. They're too angry about the transatlantic slave trade. The goal, and I just want you to know this, I could go and, I've gone on the People's Receipts. We've gone over studies about voting rights and voter suppression and voter ID laws and how it disproportionately affects, and this is math, statistical analysis, disproportionately affects black and brown people. But the point is, conservatives, right? They want as few people to vote as possible. I talk about this because it's a lot to learn, and you don't have to learn it all. Just know the political spectrum, right? The right side is conservatism, and those are people who say, let me just do this, my Supreme Court's impression of conservatism. Hey, I'm an originalist. I'm a textualist. I believe that the Constitution should be interpreted in the time it was written. So who should have power in this country? White, male, Anglo-Saxon, straight, evangelical or Protestant landholders. Those are the people I value. And the goal of conservatism is to dig your heels in and say, I am going to deny as many people equity and equality as I can to conserve what I believe is important, which is essentially white supremacy. I mean, it's right. And I talk about this too. As a teacher, I would always find this, like, insecure white men have this thing. They think that equality and equity is a pie. There's only so much. So every time, let's say they allow an immigrant who's an engineer and a doctor, because they don't understand math, right? They don't understand how currency circulates around the globe. They don't understand that this country, it's not built on immigration is not a term. I mean, it is mathematically funded. The gross domestic product is fueled. We're the number one gross domestic product of the world. Sorry, white people. It's not because of you. No offense. It's because of immigrants. We are in gross population decline. The most able-bodied workers will be in Africa in 2040. Doctors, lawyers, and I mean this. If you don't believe me, look into it. I came from the tech industry. There's not enough white engineers. There's not enough educated white people in this country. So if you want to be, we're number one, you got to do what we've always done, which is let people come here and work and generate revenue. Like, you got to decide, do you want to be number one or do you want to be racist? Like that, you really got to figure it out. And also learn some math. You got to figure out how to do math, because that's why I always said you're biting off your nose to spite your face. And in a way, I don't blame you, because Trump said brown people had your money. They don't. They're actually helping you retire, right? And last week when USMC Angry Veteran Matt and I were doing a live, I was talking about that with that amazing woman who's running against Claudia Tenney Elman. Oh my gosh, amazing. And she was talking about the value of educating people starting at 6 weeks. And I was reading statistical analysis about how children who have access to pre-K, their lifetime earnings are thousands and thousands more. We are retiring off of insecure white men. You are retiring off of Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and the generation after that, their lifetime earnings. So when you deny them access to education, it's idiotic. You're saying, I want to limit my ability to retire because it's their lifetime earnings that will be taxed and pay into Social Security and Medicare. That is how you will retire. So you are biting off your nose to spite your face. Undocumented immigrants, they pay tax in 2023, 98 billion. 98 billion, they will never get it back. Best investment ever. 98 billion, and we don't have to help them retire. They're just paying into our retire. They're like, here's 98 billion in 2023, paying through ITIN numbers. You're welcome. Like, you are, that's how I know MAGA can't do math, because every decision you make is like, I want to make sure I can't retire. I want to make sure when I need it, when I'm old and desperate, I don't have health care. That's what you're doing. And you're like, and yeah, I want to get on my knees for billionaires and hand it all to them and hope one day they'll give it back to me. But we have 45 years of trailing data. There is no trickle down. There's not. There's no trickle down. Do a statistical analysis. I've done 25 in the last 6 months. There's no trickle down. There's no benefit for you on your knees for billionaires. It's not trickling. It's just, they're just doing stock buybacks and giving golden parachutes to mediocre CEOs. There's no trickle down. And I could do a statistical analysis of the inequality between the average worker and CEOs. That's something I was looking into last week. There's no benefit to you, regardless of what you believe. There's just not. Christian, I love that name. Thank you for the $10 off it. My ex's name was Christian. I don't even know why I said that. Actually, he was a good person. Sorry, Christian. Thank you for the $10 on Venmo for being the most knowledgeable on TikTok. That's so sweet. I should stop talking about my ex. It's getting weird. Last Monday, I was railing about my other ex. Oh, and then this was the best part. Maxwell Frost. I love when he gets fired up. I could listen to Maxwell Frost. This is our first Gen Z congressperson. And I'll just point out, I think the youngest woman in Congress is Yasmin Ansari, who I talk about all the time. She's on the Oversight and Accountability Committee. She's from Arizona. She's from a district, I think, near like West Phoenix. I met her a couple of times when I was helping like Kamala's campaign. Brilliant person too. So I think he's the youngest male in Congress, and Yasmin Ansari is the youngest female. And she's like me. She's like reading every single page of the Epstein file. They're all fake. I mean, I'll get into that in a second. But I love people who are like, I'm going to make sure that this is all a lie.
When you call something a distraction, you're implying that we shouldn't pay attention to it, that we should pay attention to the other thing. And there's folks who want us to believe that there's like two different things going on. On one end, we have the big ugly law. We have the largest transfer of wealth from the working class to the billionaires, gutting Medicaid, gutting nutritional assistance, and we have the cost of living. And then on the other hand, we have the federal government occupying our cities, ICE terrorizing our communities, kidnapping people in human trafficking.
I'm going to do this, but as a teacher, I have to. This is one of the most important clips I think we'll ever hear. I want you to hear this because I keep making this point on the people's receipts that it's not either or. It's multiple things can be true at once. It's all of it. And it's like Maxwell Frost gets smarter every hour. I just remember his first speech on the congressional floor, like his voice was shaking, and look what this man has become. Like, I could not be prouder.
When you call something a distraction, you're implying that we shouldn't pay attention to it, that we should pay attention to the other thing. And there's folks who want us to believe that there's like two different things going on. On one end, we have the big ugly law. We have the largest transfer of wealth from the working class to the billionaires, gutting Medicaid, gutting nutritional assistance, and we have the cost of living. And then on the other hand, we have the federal government occupying our cities, ICE terrorizing our communities, kidnapping people and human trafficking them to other countries, and the taking away of our democracy. And the thing here is, it's not two different things, it's the same damn thing.
Same thing.
It's the same thing. These aren't things to distract from one another. This is things to enable the other thing. Because the only way you pass the big, ugly law and feel like you won't feel the political repercussions is by deploying the military to our streets, is by scaring people with ICE, is by trying to gerrymander the hell out of the country. So it's not two different things or three different things going on. It's the same story. And it's a story that a lot of us are familiar with. The rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. Let me tell you, my first time I went to the Everglades detention facility, Alligator Alcatraz, I saw two private planes on the tarmac. And I asked, who do those private planes belong to? They don't look like state planes. They said, oh, they're executives from two of the biggest corporations that are running the place. And I gotta tell you, when I was there, I barely saw any law enforcement or even the National Guard. It was all privately run. $450 million of Florida taxpayer monies going to billionaires and mega corporations. So it's the same damn story. And what we have to do as political leaders, as organizers, as activists, is be able to tell that story. Not say, we're not going to talk about this thing because we want to talk about this other thing, but be able to say, it's all one thing. It's all one story. And it's all about taking stuff away from you and giving it to them like it's been going on for decades. When you call
someone said, I think Max Frost watches the People's Receipts. You know, he's one of the only, there's 3 Congress people that follow me, and he's one of them. Yeah, I love him. He's a great guy. He's awesome. And his brain, it's like when I see someone learning or growing or just growing into their own, I just think as a teacher, there's nothing better than watching someone he knew it the whole time, but now he's just preaching. You know what I mean? Oh my God. There's nothing better as a former teacher to see someone just get super confident about what they're saying and doing, and then have the data to now back it up. And I talk about being a history major all the time. One of the scariest courses I took in college was about schmaltzy war profiteers. When he's saying there were 2 private planes on a tarmac at at this concentration camp in the Everglades, when he showed up to do congressional oversight and make sure people had food and water and weren't being tortured there, I always talk about following the money. That's one of the things historians do best, right? When I talk about schmaltzy war profiteers, I could actually, you don't even want to know, it will sicken you. Following the money of people who just, instead of saying, hey, mustache man, I'm not going to help you do this shit is wrong, who are I guess this is just what we're doing, so we're doing it, right? And they profited. These corporations still very much exist. They're huge corporations now that a lot of people know. They're schmaltzy war profiteers. And Geo Group and Core Civic, I would bet my life I don't know for sure, but he's saying there were 2 jets of the people who funded this facility. When I look into who's lobbying every conservative in Congress to vote for these concentration camps, it's Geo Group and Core Civic giving the most money. And that's what these are, the new G-side war profiteers. This is the new Trump wants to be mustache man so bad. And these are the corporations who are profiting off torturing brown and black people. Just understand what he just described to you. And you can trace the history of corporations, and they try to wash their hands of it. And they're like, oh, it wasn't me. Oh, they all still exist, and they profited off G-sides. And that's what is happening now. And we're not just talking about the people we could name that made, let's say, the SS uniforms, the fashion houses that made the SS uniforms. We're talking, these are the 2, Geo Group and Core Civic are building concentration camps and tormenting people and getting rich off of it, and then helping Congress, insider traders in Congress, get rich off of betting on it. I don't know. I'm smiling in disgust. Like, I don't know what could be worse. I could cry and scream, but there is nothing worse than what Maxwell Frost just described.
I've been fighting for years now for independent assignments of districts. No gerrymandering anywhere in the country. We need a federal law. That's how it needs to work. That is our goal.
Billy asked it, why are they landing there? Is there runway? Yeah, at these concentration camps, they're flying people in. There's a runway in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, and executives are landing there. Yes, there's a runway in the Everglades so that they can get these people right into their concentration camp. Yeah, there's a runway. That's what he's saying.
And that's how it's going to work someday. But right now, given what Texas has done, I say to California and Gavin Newsom, well played. Thank you. Our democracy does not survive when one side, the Democrats, play by the rules as they're written, and the Republicans keep breaking the law and play by whatever rules let them seize power and hold on to it. The defense of democracy is our first priority. So I support California in what they're doing. We want to take back the House and, please God, take back the Senate. We pass a Voting Rights Act that guarantees the right of every American citizen to vote, to get that vote counted, to get a district that is drawn independently, and to get D.C. statehood, and that is a big step toward protecting our democracy. That's the job.
Amen. Like, we need a supermajority in the House and Senate so we can even bypass Trump's vetoes. Like, how do we bypass it? I'm not going to make things up. Wait, how do we bypass? How can you bypass a presidential veto? Congress can override a veto by passing the act by a 2/3. That's what I thought. It's just, sometimes I just say things and they're not right. So, by passing the act by a 2/3 vote in both the House and Senate, usually an act is passed with a simple majority. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying with the midterms. And I don't want to dream too big, but I'm going to show you guys mathematical evidence of why. Listen, I don't even want to say it out loud. I don't want to give anyone hope, because I've learned, like, expect the worst and you'll never be disappointed. Believe me, that's what I learned in my childhood. Like, never get your hopes up, because you will be let down. But I started looking into some of the numbers in the Texas gerrymandering, and I think there is hope, you guys. Like, so nearest I can tell, and I'm not gonna, I have some clips to back this up, because I know when women speak, people are like, oh, that's just a woman with a tiny brain talking. Yeah, I'm very good at math, and I'm very good at using the internet to analyze data. So I looked into the Texas gerrymandering, and actually that the gerrymandering is based off Trump voters in 2024. And I started talking about this on Friday, about how gross it is and how much Hispanics are disenfranchised, because all of the population growth, or let's say the vast majority in Texas, comes from the Hispanic population. But they gerrymandered the shit out of those districts based on people that voted for Trump in Texas in 2024. And the majority of those districts are Hispanic, who now, and they no likey Trump anymore. Like, the more I'm looking into the math and how those districts have been realigned, I'm like, actually, maybe we have a chance, because and I talk about this all the time. I used to try to describe to people how I knew when Trump was lying that we were going to lose the Hispanic vote. And I talked about like conservatism, and I've lived all over South America. My father's indigenous Mexican, and how I knew, like, people don't understand that the Hispanic population in Spanish-speaking countries are more conservative than U.S. Hispanics. Like, you just don't even understand the conservatism coming out of the Hispanic population. But, like, Trump has done the only thing he could ever do to horrify them. Like, true, I mean, I couldn't have written this, like, I always talk about ballistic podiatry, shooting yourself in the foot. Like, Trump has done the only thing he could ever do. What he is doing, like terrorizing the Hispanic population, they will never stand for this. Like, trust me, I have approximately, and trust me, I have my sister does genealogy, 400 cousins in Arizona that are Hispanic, and the majority voted for Trump, and the majority are like, what in the now? Like, that's what you have to understand. You can't terrorize the Hispanic population, revoke birthright citizenship, and think that they're just like, yeah, let's keep going with this.
Let me just tell you how this is going to happen, because
I'm sorry. Dark Andy 77 says, I have saw no immigrants on this app complaining about it. Cool story, Dark Andy. Just next time, you don't need to even say that. Just say, like, I'm an idiot. Just say, I'm just a random idiot saying words. Like, I mean, you don't even have to say that, Andy. Just say, I'm a dumbass. And then we could just be like, okay, like, disregard anything Andy says. You don't have to say things that don't. Oh, really, Andy? In your person of one anecdotal experience that you're sharing with us now, I guess everything I say and other people say that I will show that will be backed up by statistical analysis. But Dark Andy said he didn't see an immigrant that it would agree with me. He's seen it. That's right, Terry. He's seen it. No, he said he didn't seen it. So never mind, everyone. Okay, everyone, that's it. The live's over. Dark Andy didn't seen it, so it's over. I'm just wrong. Do you see what I'm Dark Andy didn't seen it, so it didn't happen. Like, what was I thinking? You know, like, here I go thinking statistical mathematics was going to win the day, but Dark Andy didn't seen it, so didn't happen. Thank you, Dark Andy, for again reinforcing my point that MAGA men are insecure idiots who cannot read and or do math. I am talking about statistical analysis, not like how I feel. Like, that's why I said people don't listen when a woman with a tiny brain speaks. So I will prove this later in this class with math and other secondary and primary sources. And Andy's like, I didn't seen it. Yeah, okay, Andy, then I should just quit my life and stop educating people because you didn't seen it. Oh, this is a good one. You know, usually I do a cover page for these. This is Oh, That's Rich. But I get these clips like not from TikTok because I use these aggregate accounts on X that post things. This is brilliant.
Let me just tell you how this is going to happen, because I told you guys months ago that the Texas maps could backfire because Republicans assumed that Trump's 2024 gains among Hispanic voters would hold up. This is why they keep saying,
Dark Andy, here's a white man. A white man is going to see. This is why I always say I don't say things. I just find a white man to say it. People are always like, why do you play clips? Why don't you just say it? No, I just, because Dark Andy will seen it better when a white man tells him.
Let me just tell you how this is going to happen, because I told you guys months ago that the Texas maps could backfire because Republicans assumed that Trump's 2024 gains among Hispanic voters would hold up. This is why they keep saying they're poised to pick up 5 seats. But did you know that 4 of those 5 new districts are majority Hispanic districts? They cover areas that until 2024 were considered safe for Democrats. In fact, one of those new districts is actually safer for the House Democrat who represents it than it was in 2024. That's because they had more split-ticket voters. They drew the districts based on Trump's vote percentage, not Democrats. That's because these voters were Trump voters, not Republican voters. For whatever reason, they voted for his energy and his personality, not his policies. But now the tide is turning, because there's one thing personality can't outweigh: the economy. Turns out people turn on you real quick when you start costing them money, and that is exactly what is happening. They polled Hispanic voters in Texas after Trump's first 100 days, and they already had a 61% disapproval rating, 2 points worse than among Hispanics nationwide.
Which I reported on, and I've reported on nationwide Hispanic dissent against Trump. Not my personal feelings of whether or not I've seen it, but actual statistical analysis, which is real math.
And just this week, Reuters confirmed it's dropped even further, with only 32% of Hispanic voters approving of Trump's performance and only 21% of Hispanic voters supporting his immigration policy. And now to tie it all together, every one of Trump's policies points at a negative economic impact. Because whether Republicans like it or not, there are 2.1 million undocumented immigrants in Texas, and they have only a 3% unemployment rate. They produce a ton of economic output for very low pay, and the money they don't send home to their families is spent at local businesses in Texas. Prices on beef are up, energy is through the roof, and economic activity is down, especially in areas with heavy immigrant populations. Because whether it's coming from an undocumented immigrant or not, all money spends the same. And right now, these voters in Texas are seeing a lot less of it. And it's all thanks to Trump, the predator blob failure, who in just a little over a year will stare seething at Fox News as he realizes his own arrogance helped make him the biggest loser in American midterm history. Let me just tell you how this is going to happen.
It's so much easier to hear when a white man says it. Let that wash over you like a gentle wave, Dark Andy. Now you seen it from a white man, so you heard it from a white man. Couldn't be wrong. Okay. Oh, yeah. I told you about this Jared Moskowitz clip of it would be like, how long are we going to blame Joe Biden? Which I just want to be clear mathematically, and I made this mathematical argument, which is sound many times. Yeah, every problem we have in the economy is a self-inflicted wound created by Donald Trump, ballistic podiatry, from tariffs, right? I could go from all sorts of things, like the problems with employment. We are in stagflation now. As of June, we're in stagflation. I'll just explain it to Dark Andy, who doesn't know. We are bleeding jobs. The unemployment rate is skyrocketing, and inflation rates are skyrocketing as well. That's what stagflation is. Because normally, if we aren't hiring people, if the number of hired people in the U.S. is dropping and inflation is rising, we would do two opposite things to control that. If inflation rises, right, we would hold inflation rates, we would hold interest rates steady until inflation dropped. If we have an employment problem, we would actually drop interest rates, make money cheaper to borrow so more people would hire. But when you have both problems at the same time, that's what stagflation is, Dark Andy. And there's no good answer to that. And that's because tariffs don't work.
We're 240 days into the Trump, 240 plus days into the Trump administration now, and we're still hearing about Joe Biden. I'm interested to, what's the date on the calendar that we stop talking about Joe Biden? Just give me a date, and so I can circle it, right? And then we can say, okay, this is when we stop talking about Joe Biden. He was supposed to end the war within 24 hours. Obviously, we're 8 months in. The war is further along than when he got into office. But listen,
We had a ceasefire in Israel before Biden left office, and now we've attacked every country in the Middle East around Israel, and we, the U.S., personally attacked Iran. Every single thing that Trump ran on He has not delivered. Period. And I started to say this, but yeah, and you can read The Economist, which I don't think Dark Andy does, but if you do, you know, and I listen to every time the chair of the Fed speaks. Jerome Powell just gave his final speech on Thursday, which I was talking about. Like, if Joe Biden, or if we had elected Kamala Harris, I think that's a better way to say it, we would have lowered interest rates 3 more times this year. That was the prospectus in the Fed meeting prior to the presidential election. We lowered interest rates once. They were going to lower them 2 to 3 more times if inflation continued coming down. We recovered the best mathematically in the G7 from the pandemic. We lowered inflation faster. Yes, that's because we have fiat currency, and we learned from the Great Depression how to recover from these things quickly. Even though corporations are still robbing us all and driving prices up, driving the consumer price index up, which is another story that pisses me off, but that's beside the point. Everything would have been, if Trump just sat in his chair and was like, I'm a weird guy that says men shouldn't wear makeup and I have makeup on, I'm just going to sit here and not F everything up, we'd be in a whole nother situation. And that's because I can do math and I can read. So I know that I can manipulate huge sets of data. Like, I know that to be true. So do other people whose brains work in this country. Donald Trump came in and has engaged in a fascist authoritarian takeover, tried to clamp down on corporations. It started the tariff thing, which is just a further tax on the poor and middle classes. And that's why we're in this. The only person you should blame is Donald Trump. This is not helping people in Congress. They're just spineless jellyfish. The only person that is benefiting from this is Donald Trump. Well, people, corporations, and that's, it's not. It's actually how it's hurting them. But they're just passing that hurt onto us, right? Walmart now just released a second statement. Not only in their last earnings call did they say, hey, prices are going up. They're saying they're not going up and this is the end of the pricing matrix. We're going to continue to bake in price hikes. We're not, because what they're saying is our shareholders, billionaires, they want their money. They want their profit. So we're going to pay people nothing. We're going to deny them health care. And we're going to pass on the cost to consumers. And it's going to get worse from here. That was their last earnings call. And the only way to make things affordable and fair is regulation inside a capitalistic market. You guys always talk about free markets. There's no free market without regulation. There's no fairness. There's no way small businesses can defeat a corporate monopolies because they're priced out of the market. I could talk about this for 6 hours, but I realize MAGA doesn't understand math, so I don't know if there's a point.
I think it is a bipartisan goal to try to end the war, to get it to an end. It doesn't appear the meeting with Putin had any effect at the moment. Obviously, we don't know a lot that was said because they haven't told us. We have no framework, no ceasefire. And so, the American people and the Europeans are waiting to see where this is going to go. And if you listen to the president, millions of people have died in this war. And so, look, Vance didn't really have a great answer there. That's why he mentioned Joe Biden 3 times, right? It's just, adjective, verb, Joe Biden is what the explanation was.
It's adjective, verb, Joe Biden about the economy, which is mathematically untrue. So that's what I want to say. If you think that you can't afford groceries because of Joe Biden, you're an idiot. That's it. That's not the wrong answer. You're failing the class. I don't know how else to help you. And I say this about insecure MAGA men because I've tried. I spent hundreds of hours from 2022 to 2024 thinking, oh, the answer is you have conversations with people on the internet and you just provide facts. And then they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And now I realize that's not what it is. So, yeah, I mean, if you think that anything that goes wrong has gone wrong in this economy from January until now, and it's going to get much worse. You guys don't understand statistical analysis, so you have no idea what's coming.
Is more sophisticated now.
I'm going to let you in on something. None of it is the fault of Joe Biden. Economically, foreign policy wise, none of it is the fault of Joe Biden. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm losing my voice a little bit. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow because I wasn't feeling well a week ago and I'm still not feeling well. So maybe I'll get some help. This is the mayor of Chicago let me get it right. Brandon Johnson, who was speaking about, Trump's alleged next occupation will be of Chicago. And this is the mayor of Chicago, which Trump started crying. Trump has lost his mind over the weekend today about people standing up to him and pointing out that he's a liar and a coward. This is the mayor of Chicago speaking about Trump's plan to occupy Chicago. Wait, sorry, sometimes I know I have this clip exists. I just maybe didn't add it to the presentation. Give me one sec. Can we tap the screen, by the way, while I look for this clip? It takes me like 6 hours every day to put these presentations together. If you like what I do, this is my Cash App and Venmo, or I'm trying to get more subscriptions. If you would like to subscribe, that's the yellow star in the bottom left-hand corner. Please do. Oh, wait, I gotta focus for 1 second. I gotta find this. Too good to not play it. I love this man. I haven't listened to Brandon Johnson talk a lot, but he's fast. I like him.
So let me just be very clear. He does not have the legal authority to do it. Right. I'm not talking about the police force. I'm talking about the Insurrection Act and National Guard. I'm saying he does not have, I know what you're talking about. He does not have the legal authority to do it. In fact, troops do not.
Yes, Trump is violating posse comitatus. Trump is violating the Insurrection Act. Trump is violating the Constitution every single day. And I do appreciate him just being like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. He can't do this. The answer is, what is the enforcement mechanism? That's why if we ever take back Congress, we have to change laws. We have to make sure that some crazy, insecure, weird man with a full face of makeup can never take over our country and violate the Constitution again. Trump gets up every day and violates all of our laws. And that's when I was like, oh God, MAGA was always like, I love 2A. I think I assumed they had read the Constitution. Now I know. Not only do they not understand the Second Amendment, but they have never read any of the Constitution or the supporting materials around it. Do they understand U.S. Penal Code? Absolutely not. Like, you can't help these people because they can't read.
Have policing power. So they can't even do the very thing that he claims that he wants them to do. You talk about incompetence. I remember a time in which we had presidents who declared war on poverty. This president has declared war on poor people. President Trump shifting the highest concentration of wealth into the hands of the ultra-rich, and he's doing it by way of taking away Medicaid, taking away SNAP. I mean, literally taking away food. He has gone after the Department of Public Education, defunding critical resources to our cities. And he is literally plundering our cities as we speak. And if the president was sincere, he would not be declaring war on poor people and going after homeless people. That's a much different posture than what we're taking in the city of Chicago. We've expanded our shelter beds by 126%, put $40 million into our shelter system to improve them. We're on pace to build 10,000 affordable units by the time my first term ends. It's why here in Chicago, we're moving to challenge the ultra-rich. to pay their fair share in taxes. You have a tax burden of working people in the city of Chicago about 19, almost 20%, where for the rich, it's about 11.5%. For the ultra rich, they almost pay no taxes. My focus is going to always be to protect people of this city and to build the safest, most affordable big city in America. And though we take these threats seriously, we will not bow down or succumb to his tyrant rage. So let me just...
That's the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. Sorry, I'm just resetting the super chat goal on YouTube. Sorry, I get so emotionally invested in all this. It's hard for me to focus. Terry, thank you for the $20 on Venmo. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the facts you provide and the research preparation. Thank you so much. I feel like so few people are really digging in and just showing people what's going on. Like, this is my passion. Wait, oh, I'm sorry. I just need to go back to I was like, that's not the right direction. Sometimes when I add things to the presentation, they don't add. Let me get back to where we're starting from. I love this presentation because it only gets better. Now what did I want to say about Chicago? Yeah, and I'm going to get into this further as we get into Trump's feud with America's hottest governor. I've been over this if you don't know who I'm talking about. I think some people could guess in the comments, who is America's hottest governor? It's not Gavin Newsom, I'll tell you that. It's very clearly the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. If you don't know who the governor of Maryland is and what he looks like, there are several videos of him dancing online, and just look them up. The hottest mayor in America is Wes Moore. He's also a veteran and an amazing person. Oh no, we're going to hear Tim Walz gave a speech too. Tim Walz maybe let me just think really quick because we're about to get into new topics. I was going to play my Tim Walz stuff. Actually, I think I'm going to do that now because it kind of goes with the rally we were going into. Tim Walz was speaking today, which not a lot of people know about, and you want to hear Tim Walz on fire, which Tim Walz has always been on fire. Some people know during Kamala Harris's campaign, I met him 4 times. I love Tim Walz. I have always been impressed by him, the way that I just want to say, what I'm about to say is sad. Because what I really was going to say is the way that he understands and values women and understands that women can be much smarter than him and he can be in a support role to a woman and that can be his calling. I truly loved. I like the lines of logic he follows, but truly that's, if you listen to Tim Walz speak, that's what he's like, yeah, Kamala Harris is one of the most brilliant people I've ever been around. I'm just here to get out of her way, and that's when I was like, okay, thank you. Someone who can listen, someone who can hear extremely intelligent women when they are speaking. Oh, he is America's dad. When I met Tim Walz, oh my God, I totally freaked him out. I had a hat on that said Tim Walz is my dad. And I gave him a whole little talk about how there's so many people in America that are neurodivergent or on the spectrum that wish that they had parents that would support them like he supports his children. I think the world of Tim Walz. So actually, I should have just played these after the rally. That was my plan, but I got kind of sidetracked. It's just a couple of clips. I just want to show you because Tim Walz doesn't speak a lot anymore. So I just want to show you, Tim Walz is angry, which not even angry. He's just like me, now Tim Walz is just I'm just going to sarcastically say that how dumb Trump is and how dumb everyone around him is. And I'm
is more sophisticated now than
I cannot get enough of it. Bitter Tim Walz.
Tell you the privilege of my lifetime was stand beside someone we know was the most qualified and would have been a fantastic president in a President Harris.
Can I just say, this is a non-insecure man. So MAGA men, gather round, feast your eyes upon a man who does not have a small d, is not busy giving a Andrew Jackson to a weird guy in orange makeup 24 hours a day. What he stated was not his feelings. That is a fact. If I mixed up all the resumes of past presidents and I put Kamala Harris's resume in there, she is pound for pound the most qualified. Or let's say there's one other resume you could be like, oh, here's a qualified person. She is the most qualified candidate because you are insecure and it makes you feel tiny and small when women know more than you, which I could tell women are more educated than men in this country. We just make less because you guys are insecure. You have this is a man who is secure in himself and can correctly identify when he's in the presence of brilliance. Period. My advice to MAGA men is be less insecure. You'll probably get laid more. Women will value you more. You'll be treated better in general. Just recognize when someone knows more than you. And the answer is not to be threatened by it and take their bodily autonomy away. Just say, like, what a brilliant creature I just ran into. Maybe I should learn to read and do math.
Tell you the privilege of my lifetime was stand beside someone we know was the most qualified and would have been a fantastic president in a President Harris. And look, we wouldn't wake up every day to a bunch of shit on TV and a bunch of nonsense. We would wake up to an adult with compassion and dignity and vision and leadership doing the work, not a man-child crying about whatever's wrong with him. May his
no lies detected so far. I'm just angry. Ted Walls is no lies detect. Just a person stating some facts, as far as I can tell.
fat ankles find something today about whatever's.
Hey, now I will get into more about Trump's ankles because I might go out of order in this presentation because I'm not going to let the cankles thing go. I have some reporting on Trump's cankles that I will not end this live without showing everyone.
Not a man-child crying about whatever's wrong with him. May his fat ankles find something today. Petty as hell. But look,
his fat ankle, I can't.
But what we have to be clear about is, don't take the bait. It boggles my damn mind that in the midst of a military takeover of our cities and the attempt to go into others, the flaunting of the rule of law, the cruelness and the unconstitutional nature of the way they're attacking our neighbors, that the press finds the need to talk about, oh, there's a division in the Democratic Party. There's a division in my damn house and we're still married and things are good. That's life. That's life.
Just to expound on that, because in the Democratic Party, we're allowed to have free thought and opinions. In the Republican Party, you all get on your knees for a man that says men shouldn't wear makeup, but puts terrible makeup on every day, has horrible cankles, his hands are swollen, you can't tell where his wrists are, end and where his biceps begin. He literally is deteriorating before our eyes while you guys pretend he's riding sharks and Tyrannosaurus Rexes. You aren't allowed to have an opinion. You are spineless. You are on your knees giving Andrew Jacksons and BJs to a man who's giving Andrew Jacksons and BJs to Vladimir Putin. You're just in a centipede line. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the movie. Watch the Centipede movie. That's all you guys are. You're not allowed to think. You're not allowed to use statistical analysis to formulate ideas. I say this, and I think in general, it's true. The Democratic Party is largely data driven, right? So I can have an opinion today, and when I receive a new data set and I start manipulating it and not manipulating it, manipulating it meaning using it in mathematical equations, it's going to tell me a story. And these aren't my opinions. This is the math. So that I use data to formulate opinions. Whereas The conservatives, you guys could not find your way out of a paper bag to save your life. You can't do 1+1, let alone a statistical analysis. Period. That's the truth. You guys are just, Donald Trump said, this is what I think and feel today, so I think and feel it. Even though you all have supercomputers and you could just, again, I'm just going to give you how to do it, right? Fact check, write whatever claim Trump's speaking, and then you can figure out that it's all not true. But you don't care. You don't care that not a thing you think and feel was your original idea, that none of it is true. You just get your marching orders from Donald Trump and you're like, Donald Trump said he looks like a bodybuilder. So when I look at him, I see a body. Donald Trump said he's the best golfer in the world. So he's the best golfer in the world. Donald Trump said he's not robbing me. So he's not robbing me. Like, why look into any of these claims?
We are strong. We are strong because we challenge each other. We are strong because we're held accountable. We're strong because we believe that there's a place for everyone here. Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid freaking red hat. What should I say today? I don't know. Just make sure it's cruel. Who do we listen to? That guy. Oh, the felon in the White House? Yeah, listen to him and that will be fine. But what we have to be.
Exactly. And you know what else is on the left? Accountability. When we find out people are child molested, when we find out people are the Epstein files, we don't sit there silently like cowards. We point out, why is it that all of these pastors on the right are diddling children? Why is the Catholic Church covering up all this child abuse while Republicans continue taking money and supporting their vote? Why is it that Donald Trump himself has been credibly accused over, I think it's 29 times, of SA, has been found unanimously liable of SA by a jury of his peers, has 30 plus felonies that are never going away, is all up in the Epstein files, and you guys are all like cats who are like paralyzed and like, what do we do? Well, people who are allowed to think for themselves, like what on the left, which here, actually on the left, we do it too much. There's too much accountability on the left. We don't know when to effing stop with the accountability. That is one of our problems. We have too much accountability over here. You guys fold like lawn chairs at every, you're like, oh no, I guess we'll just like support child trafficking. Our whole platform was pretending that we opposed it. Let me help you, and I want you to know this because I can do math. Conservatives, MAGA, you do not support women and children. This is not my feelings as a woman. This is math, statistical analysis, impact studies. How do I know that? Mathematically, every piece of legislation brought by conservatives in state legislatures and in the federal government disproportionately discriminates, disenfranchises, and devalues women and children. Who votes against that legislation? The left, independents. You do not care mathematically. I mean, as far as the legislation you bring, it is antithetical to the idea that you care about women and children. Now, and I can mathematically prove this too. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I already have on my lives. This is episode 101 of the People's Receipts. I've already mathematically proved this. While you pretend that brown people are a problem, they are not. There's no statistical, that's math, correlation between immigration and crime. I am more likely to be assaulted by a white male American than I am by an immigrant. I'm not saying no immigrants ever commit crime, but the way we fight crime is doing statistical analysis, and when there's an epidemic of crime, concentrating dollars towards that. You're just helping billionaires and corporations build concentration camps and get richer by terrorizing brown people, immigrants. You're not doing shit to help crime. Nothing you guys have ever done has been effective in any way. I mean, mathematically. So Miss me with the BS. You care about women and children. We know that you don't. But if you did care about child ass trafficking, let me help you. While you are cheering on this unbelievably expensive mass deportation, FBI agents, all sorts of agents are being deferred from their normal jobs, which are child ass trafficking, to supplement this mass deportation. You are making it easier for people inside America. The FBI covers domestic crime. For people inside America to set up S trafficking rings. Let me help you out with how you're also making it easier. Trump is setting up a system where if you can bribe him, if you have money, you're not a criminal. So rich people can S traffic. And the only thing I ever respected about MAGA was that they cared about child S trafficking. But every day that goes by, I learn you never cared about any of it. You're still following the guy that's pardoning people, that's moving child ass traffickers to cushy prisons, that's obfuscating, that's lying, that's all up in the Epstein files. You don't care. You guys are disgusting frauds.
About is, don't take the bait. It boggles my damn mind that in the midst of a military takeover our cities and the attempt to go into others, the flaunting of the rule of law, the cruelness and the unconstitutional nature of the way they're attacking our neighbors, that the press finds the need to talk about, oh, there's a division in the Democratic Party. There's a division in my damn house and we're still married and things are good. That's life. That's life. We are strong. We are strong because we challenge each other. We are strong because we're held accountable. We're strong because we believe that there's a place for everyone here. Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid.
We already heard that, but I just wanted to repeat it because it drives me insane. Sorry, and I just want to point out, I did talk on Friday. Kilmore Abrego Garcia, I think he was technically informed on Thursday that it was possible that he would be deported to Uganda, which this is all about him just exercising his constitutional rights, his right to exist outside of detainment, his right to attorney, his right to his right to a trial. All of these things are infuriating Trump's DOJ. And today, because they're so infuriated by him exercising his constitutional rights and his right to be heard and his right to a trial, they took him back into custody. He doesn't need to be, which I have a section on and I'll get to it. But yeah, I talked about him being informed legally that he could be deported to Uganda. I believe he was informed on Thursday. I talked about it on Friday. And today he was just taken back into detention, which I'll get to. But there's a million crises in this country and don't worry. I swear we're going to get there. I have a whole very angry section on racism in America that I promise you, it will give you chills. I just need to get there. Let's all keep tapping the screen. We're almost to 300K. We can get to 350. Tap, tap, tap. I appreciate all your support. And I'm never trying to not cover things. I am covering them. It's just, so many things are. I'm pick and choose. I've got to figure out a way. I try to make it flow, but don't worry. We're getting to racism in America and immigration. I saw some things today that are God, I do I found a lot of new I'm trying to find new voices. Like I said, I'm trying to find white men to call other white men out about their racism because it's not really resonating when I talk about it. So don't you worry. It's a coming. Doug, thank you for the $20 on Venmo from the beautiful city of Chicago. I love Chicago. Can I just say, big city vibes, but Midwest feel. I used to work in Chicago a lot. And by the way, I don't know if this person's still here, but an hour ago, someone asked me what I did in the tech industry. I worked in advertising. I mean, pre-IPO for a huge social media company. the way you build a social media company like TikTok is you bring in advertising revenue so that you can pay the very expensive engineers to build social media sites like TikTok. And that's what I did. I brought the revenue that paid for the really expensive people.
We are strong. We are strong because we challenge each other. We are strong because we're held accountable. We're strong because we believe that there's a place for everyone here. Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid freaking red hat. What should I say today? I don't know. Just
wait. Did I write the same clip? Sorry, I think I played the same clip 3
But
times.
I am willing to say each and every one of us are unified around the idea that this cruelty must end. This slow-rolling attempt at undermining democracy, and I always get in trouble for it, and I'll continue to say it. I don't think we do any favors when we don't name it. These are fascist policies meant to take away our. That is what they are. So for all of you here, I welcome you to Minnesota. I'm grateful you're here. We know this is going to be, look, if democracy was easy, everyone would do it. And if democracy were easy, it would survive. But the natural order of things is to have people come along like this guy and to have folks want to be told what to do or to demonize someone else or find a scapegoat. That's kind of the way the natural order is, but we've risen above that. This is not the law of the jungle. This is the law of human decency, of human rights reigning first. And I will have to tell you, I saw a statistic came out today is Minnesota ranks the highest per capita for being a safe haven for transgender individuals in Minnesota. And can I just say,
insecure conservative men discriminating against trans people does nothing for you. Does nothing for you. They don't have your money. They've done nothing to you. You're just projecting your own insecurity about who you are deep down inside onto them. They know who they are. Trans people know who they are, and they are self-actualizing. And you spending U.S. tax dollars to get in the way of that is just a giant indictment on conservative male insecurity.
we can talk about economic growth and feeding children and growing the economy and creating jobs simultaneously with talking about everybody's human rights matters, and we shouldn't be demonizing that. You can do both. You can do both. So, this state's also the home to a few pretty good poets like Prince and Bob Dylan, who told us we would always provide, and Minnesota always will provide, shelter from the storm. But I also want to quote to the New Jersey folks here. They also got a pretty good poet. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the release of Born to Run. And as that poet said, it ain't no sin to be alive, and I think we're here. This room's born to run, running to a better future, a future that includes everyone, a future where our children are valued and lifted up, a future where immigrants are celebrated just like our grandparents and parents were, a future where we ask people to pay their fair share while we make life a little bit easier for others, and we find joy in the things that you find personally joyful, and I don't give a damn what your neighbor thinks about those things. Those are the things that we are here for. So to each of you, it's a privilege to be in this fight with you. It's a privilege to know that they are going to write about this time period. When he is pushed to the dustbin of history, when people use it as a cautionary tale to scare the shit out of their children of what could happen, this guy's out there. Those will be stories for the future. Our time right now is one foot in front of the other, do the work that's in front of us, win those 2 gubernatorial elections that are coming up here. We know we need Virginia and New Jersey. Get those won. Prepare for the midterms, 36 governor's races. Continue to push back every single day on this. Do not allow them to normalize federal troops in our cities. It is un-American and unconstitutional. So DNC, go lead the fight.
I mean, if Steve said he's not used to speeches like that, then you didn't listen to Dib Wallace speak. I saw him speak in the 2024 campaign, I think 5 times in person. Tim Walz will bring like, people are just like, just let me touch you. Like, Tim Walz is amazing. And he's talking about the gubernatorial races. Abigail Spanberger is running for governor of Virginia, and I believe she's they're very upset about it. And then, is it Mikey Sherrill? That's right, is running for governor of New Jersey. The woman who's like a helicopter, like, she's literally another woman who's, if you added together 800 MAGA men, is more qualified. So she's like fit in combat like double the time. She's amazing. Wait, I want to make sure. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm saying her name right. Wait, I know I'm following her. Governor. Can someone tell me how to spell Mike Sherrill? Yeah, she's unbelievably amazing.
More sophisticated now than computers.
I love that woman, and I'm saying, like, this is like a helicopter pilot in like, this woman is like every insecure MAGA, like, for every insecure MAGA. If we had 500 insecure MAGA men who've done nothing with their lives, like, that would not add up to one Mikey Sherrill. Yeah, it's Mikie. Sherrill is Sherrill. So RRL. She's brilliant and has done every single thing in she's a U.S. Naval Academy graduate, Navy helicopter pilot, former federal prosecutor, plus the bar, wife, mother of 4, because if you don't have kids as a woman, you're worthless. 4 kids, MAGA. Gotta respect that. How many kids do you have, MAGA? Man, how many kids came out of your vagina? 0. I'm telling you, she's one of the most brilliant people I've ever heard speak. So's Abigail Spanberger. Don't get me wrong. Love her too. My first cat's name was Abigail. R.I.P. Abigail. Like, I love Abigail Spanberger as well. But I just want to be very clear. If you cheer on the dissolution of the Department of Education, if you think it's cool to lose Medicaid and Medicare, you're an idiot, MAGA. Truly. You're not smart. You can't even figure out who's robbing you, and you're robbing your children of an education so they could have a future. I just think we really need to have a reset and understand the only way out of poverty, the only way, like, you guys are just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You know how you do that? Which, that's an oxymoron. You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But it's by providing your children education. So when you cheer on the dissolution of the Department of Education, that doesn't mean you're smart. It means you're an idiot who's depriving your children of equity inside of an education system that was built on Jim Crow laws. Which you're thinking, well, I'm white, so I'm here to benefit from Jim Crow. No, idiot, you're not. Because if you're poor, Jim Crow is meant to hold you down. And that's what the Department of Education was doing. You know, the biggest beneficiary of Title IX? White women. White women. It was the Department of Education, their only job is to make things more fair for poor people. And you're like, yeah, let's get rid of my only chance for my children to have a future because I feel insecure. Yeah, that's great. You're a terrible parent. If you think it's a good idea to get rid of the Department of Education, you're a bad parent. Straight up. You have not done your research. You don't know what's best for your child. You have no idea what the Department of Education does. You are a bad parent. Sorry, that sounds aggressive, but I mean that. I was a teacher. I know what the Department of Education does. And like all of the idiots that are like, yeah, the woman whose husband runs the WWE said, who's never been a teacher in her life, said that we should get rid of it because a guy who wears makeup every day said it was a good idea. Cool. Okay. Like, this is where we're at in society. Whatever happens, no one make any sense. Okay, I did promise you I needed to talk about the governor, the hottest governor in the United States. And I rarely say that, but I do think I guess you could say every day, I don't know. His name's Wes Moore, and Trump has been attacking him over and over and over. Well as Chris Christie, whatever. Here's what happens. Trump gets like the schedule of who's appearing on Sunday Morning Politics. That's why I always tell people, watch Sunday Morning Politics and watch True Social, because Trump just starts melting down about people who are just like, hey, like, can I just talk about some facts? And Trump's like, no. And just starts freaking out. So let me just play this clip and then we'll get into like what Wes Moore did that made Trump want him to no longer exist.
Well, I mean, all this stuff ties together. You can even tie in the redistricting efforts down in Texas, right? This is all power play stuff. And the Chris Christie threats, in this case, reopening an investigation into Bridgegate is part of this. The Bolton raid obviously is part of this. Even the Intel story, he went from threatening the company CEO to saying he's a great guy because he gave him 10% share. And then another story over the weekend involving Wes Moore saying, look, we might withhold the money that was passed, congressional authorized money passed for the Francis Scott Key Bridge reconstruction, because Wes Moore had the audacity to tell the president, hey, come to Maryland and walk the streets with me so I can show you that the progress we're making with respect to crime. All of this is part of the same theme, which is Trump incredibly pushing the boundaries, flagrantly pushing them of the presidency to get his will, and oftentimes in vindictive ways. And we're in incredibly uncharted territory here. You mentioned DC and the crime statistics. The reason that they're saying this is that they're now saying that we're fudging the crime statistics. They're saying the same thing about Chicago. So we're distorting realities. We're using that as justification for these federal troops to come into these cities. And it's all at the whims of the presidency. It's a bleak moment for us in the nation's capital, but it could be even bleaker if we start sending the U.S. military into Chicago, because at least with the nation's capital, there is DC home rule. So there is some veneer of legality here for at least 30 days. But the next steps, we get into uncharted territory. Well,
let me skip really quick. I want to go to like a crime. I think I have a clip on crime. I want to, because he's talking about Trump is saying that crime statistics are a lie. They're not. The first time, right? The way that Trump was elected was by lying about crime statistics, lying about immigrants and crime, lying about crime in blue cities, which it's just super simple. The main driver of crime is poverty, right? And the height of crime in during the pandemic was 2020 or 2021, 2022. And as soon as we started recovering from the pandemic, crime has dropped. I don't even like hearing individual Democratic politicians taking credit of it. It's just as we recovered, which thanks Joe Biden, thanks all the effort of these governors and mayors working to provide opportunity, to provide healthcare, to provide education. That is what lifts people out of poverty. That is what lowers crime. Period. It's mathematical. We provide education, upward mobility, after school programs. We provide healthcare so you don't have to steal, so your child can get some antibiotics. All of a sudden, crime drops. Trump can't actually do math, so he can claim crime statistics are fake all he wants. That's just an indicator. If you believe that Trump is telling the truth, again, I just know that you can't read. You're on a supercomputer. You don't know how to find crime statistics. You have no idea what you're talking about. None of that is true. I can't. I used to debate and debunk it all the time. I don't have the energy to explain to each individual why they're dumb any longer. Oh, and this is from this morning, by the way.
I think one of the most interesting things about the graphic you just showed is the highlighted yellow of those states sending really their national guard.
Sorry, I should have paused it.
I think one of the
So this is where major cities with highest homicide rates. Uh-oh. Wait, this is so strange. This is so strange. So you're Jackson, Birmingham, St. Louis, Memphis. Wait, state sent National Guard troops. Okay. Baltimore, Detroit, Cleveland, Dayton, Kansas City, Shreveport, Washington, D.C. This is something Gavin Newsom talks about all the time. If you care, if you're telling us that you care about if you care about crime, then better get up in those red states where crime is the highest.
The most interesting things about the graphic you just showed is the highlighted yellow of those states sending their National Guard to D.C., right? I think we've seen this playbook before.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. So the yellow means these are red states who have the highest homicide rates in the country, which is like homicides per 100,000 residents. Just to understand what the rate is. And they sent their National Guard to D.C., which is, you can see, literally last on this list. So we have 5 cities with higher homicide rates that sent their National Guard to D.C., and by the way, which I'll get to this later, and the National Guard is not in areas where homicides happen. They're hanging out in rich areas doing nothing.
I think one of the most interesting things about the graphic you just showed is the highlighted yellow of those states sending their National Guard to D.C., right? I think we've seen this playbook before from the president, and it won't be the last time where he is using this issue as a political one, right? He is trying to make the case that he needs to intervene because Democrats.
Can I just say something? Stop using this issue, pathologically lying about something that is not anything. If you are concerned about homicide rates in cities, you've got a bunch of red cities to send they shouldn't be sending their National Guard to blue cities. None of this, I'm sorry, let's go back here just again. I'm sorry, was Chicago on here? Is Los Angeles on here? Is New York City on here? No. None of Baltimore, I'm going to make a mathematical argument for how far their homicide rate has fallen. They've made strides and strides, right? Because the graph through time matters. It's not getting worse. It is dropping exponentially since the pandemic. Trump is using this is where the homicides are happening. Jackson, Mississippi. Now, these yellow lines, they've sent their National Guard to police the last on the list. But again, no Los Angeles, no Chicago. The governor of the state of Washington has been told they're going to be occupied. Pam Bondi sent a letter to the governor of Washington, the governor of Oregon. They're just occupying blue cities that bail out welfare red states that can't balance their own budgets. Whenever you think, hey, Gavin Newsom can't manage his state, just remember that's the fourth largest economy in the world. I mean, country economy. They bail out your state every day, red states. Same with New York. You guys are delusional. You don't understand economics and you don't understand crime statistics. Sorry, I get really angry about this.
I think one of the most interesting things about the graphic you just showed is the highlighted yellow of those states sending their National Guard to D.C., right? I think we've seen this playbook before from the president, and it won't be the last time where he is using this issue as a political one, right? He is trying to make the case that he needs to intervene because Democratic-run cities are out of control in his parlance. And that's clearly not the case backed up by data. There are a whole host of other cities, primarily in Republican-led states, that have higher crime rates, but that's not the focus for this president. We've seen him go after Chicago, LA. This weekend he was tangling with Governor Westmore of Maryland and talking about Baltimore. There is a playbook here that the president is using, and it's mostly driven by his politics. And one of the things just to note about Chicago's crime rate has actually been decreasing and at times has been at pre-pandemic levels. And so this focus on this out-of-control crime is misplaced based on where the data is. Not to say that there's no crime, but if you really look at the numbers, it is not the sort of picture the president is.
You heard him.
Again, yes. If we cared about homicide rates and where the most people were being unalived per capita, the rate of homicides, we'd be in Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, St. Louis, Missouri, Memphis, Tennessee. And I want to just, it's so funny we're now like Trump's in it with Westmore, because I almost went through this. You know, the same guy, I always talk about one of my second favorite independent journalists. His name's Judd Legume. He's the guy that worked with engineers to create the Doge tool to like fact check or do the correct math to mathematically fact check the Doge wall of receipts. Same guy. And I was like, I should go over this, but sometimes, you know, there's just so much going on since Trump was president. I never got to it. Again, this is from Popular Information, which is Judd Legume's Substack account. It's called this. It was released on July 16th. So just over a month ago, month and 10 days. The Secret to Baltimore's Extraordinary Year. This April, Baltimore saw 5 homicides. This is the fewest of any month since 1970, when the city began tracking monthly homicide numbers. In the first 6 months of the year, homicides were down 22% compared to 2024, and non-fatal shootings were down 19%. This is the latest in a string of historic declines in violent crime. In 2024, homicides dropped 23% from 2023 numbers, and non-fatal shootings dropped 34%. In 2023, the city also saw record-breaking decreases. And if you know, like, Baltimore's very much a place, either you have money or you don't. You don't go into the wrong neighborhoods. I used to date a professional baseball player for like 10 years, and I would always go to his games in Baltimore, and it's like, it just disgusted me, like the haves and the have-nots. And this is Westmore, and I'm going to let Westmore tell it. And the actual mayor, oh my God, his name's escaped me, but the mayor of Baltimore is another brilliant black man who has worked his ass off, just like Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago, to lower crime rates, to work with social services, to work with the Catholic diocese, to provide all these different options to lift people out of poverty and lower these crime rates. And just because some creepy guy in orange makeup with cankles tells you it's not true, doesn't make any of this not true. Sorry, it just pisses me off that, like, so many insecure white men with small D's are like, Trump said this. Trump can't add. Trump can't read. Trump's first cabinet, they released a book. Reince Priebus is quoted in a book about Trump about how not only could they not make him read an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, they couldn't get him to read a Post-it note. The man is certifiably an idiot. And you're like, well, some guy that says men shouldn't wear makeup but keeps putting is in drag every single day told me that Baltimore crime was up, so I guess we need to turn the American military on them because that's how dumb I am. I just suggest that everybody, like insecure MAGA men, it's time to learn to read. You don't even have to. If you know how to use your smartphone, it will read out loud to you. You don't even have to read. You can just sit there and listen, depending on which way you learn better. You don't even have to know how to read anymore. But yeah, let's get into what Trump's insecurity with the hottest governor in America, which a lot of people were probably guessing Gavin Newsom. It's not. It's definitely the mayor of Maryland, Westmore.
We know the president watches the program and he...
Sorry.
We know the president watches the program and he likely saw the guest listing because he's tweeting about you or truthing, I guess. He says the governor, Westmore of Maryland, has asked in a nasty and provocative tone that I walk the streets of Maryland with him. And he's talking about crime-ridden Baltimore. It's quite lengthy, but he goes after your record on crime. He says it's a bad one. He says if you need help, he will send in the troops, which is being done in nearby D.C. I mean, when we saw a few weeks ago the deployment on the streets of Los Angeles, the governor of California tried to go to the courts, and he was unable to stop it. Is the reality here is you can't stop the president from sending troops to Baltimore if he wants to.
The year before I became the governor, in 2022, Baltimore was averaging almost a homicide a day. And I came in and I said, I refuse to be a governor who just offers thoughts and prayers to this situation. So we said we're actually going to work in partnership with Mayor Scott, work in partnership with local elected officials, work in partnership with...
They're both named Brandon. That's what the mayor of Baltimore, also a brilliant black man. The mayor of Chicago's name is Brandon Johnson. The mayor of Baltimore's name is Brandon Scott. Thank you. I couldn't remember. Yeah, that's what it is.
With local law enforcement. We made the largest investments in local law enforcement in our state's history, over $50 million going to Baltimore City alone.
That came from federal money.
That came from both federal and state money. And also, Maryland became one of the only states that actually helps to fund the U.S. attorney out of balance sheet, taking many of those gun crimes and actually turning them into federal charges. And the results have been incredibly encouraging, where Maryland has had amongst the fastest drops in violent crime of anywhere in the United States in the past 2.5 years. Yeah. The homicide rate in Maryland is down over 20% since I have been the governor. And the last time the homicide rate was this low in Baltimore City, I was not born yet. And so the reason that I've asked the president to come and join us is because he seems to enjoy living in this blissful ignorance, these tropes and these 1980 scare tactics. And, you know, just last week I was in Baltimore and I was with a group called We Are Us, who's a violence intervention group. And they say, we're all we got. We're all we need. And that's exactly how people in this community feel. Because while the president is spending his time from the Oval Office making jabs and attacks at us, there are people actually on the ground doing the work who know what supports would actually work to continue to bring down crime, but it's falling on deaf ears of the president of the United
States. We know the president watches the program, and
again, this is an independent article like I was reading about Baltimore crime. All those crime statistics are backed up by what this man is saying, and they are true. The hottest Dark Andy, are you okay? Are you back here to get embarrassed again? Or are you talking about why St. Louis is homicide rate is one of the highest in the country? No, you don't need to explain anything about St. Louis. Don't tell us. It's all run by conservatives. So let me help you. Missouri is run by conservatives, right? The state of Missouri, who have voted to defund Medicaid, Medicare, any social programs. And what we know, right, mathematically, not your feelings, Dark Andy, is that the number one driver of crime is poverty. So when you take away, when you just are like, hey, billionaires need more. Elon Musk is only getting $8 million a day in welfare, and he's saying he needs more welfare. The richest man in the world would like some more welfare. So we have to deprive the poorest of the poor and places like St. Louis with brown and black populations of the resources they need, the education they need. I'm sure, Dark Andy, based on your intelligence level, you cheered on the dissolution of the Department of Education. Every time you deprive poor communities of upward mobility, you are saying, I want to drive crime rates up. But that's not the point. You can cry in the comments and try to tell me why crime rates are high. You're not on the line of logic. Let me say it slower, Dark Andy, so you can get on the line of logic. St. Louis's crime rate, right? A red state. St. Louis is inside Missouri, a Republican-run state with a Republican supermajority in the state legislature, Republican governor, Republican Supreme Court. And for some reason, if this was about the rate of violent crime, then the National Guard would be in St. Louis. They would be occupying Missouri. They would not be sending their National Guard to a different place with a much lower homicide rate and crime that is going this way versus this way. That's the point. You're trying to defend something that's not the point. Wake the up. Let me help you. Trump is targeting sanctuary cities. Now, Dark Andy, I encourage you, because I'm a teacher, I want you to learn. Do your own research. There's no statistical correlation between immigration to sanctuary cities and crime. There's not. Immigrants are not committing crimes in America. American citizens are. Okay? And crime rates spiked in 2020, 2021 because of the pandemic. Since we started recovering from an unavoidable worldwide pandemic, crime has been falling. Period. But as Trump, and I promise you this, Dark Andy, as Trump steals from the middle class and the poor, there's no middle class, from all of us to give more to billionaires and corporations, crime will go up. When you deprive people of health care, of access to food, clean water, and education, crime will skyrocket. That's what happened in the pandemic. So that's the point, Andy. We are shifting resources. The big, beautiful bill. Trump robbed you. I encourage you to look into how Trump robbed you. You need to figure it out. The largest transfer of wealth in one bill. He didn't just rob you. He robbed your children. He robbed our children's children. We're borrowing $4 trillion immediately. Like, I don't think you understand how the economy functions, not just this economy, but how currency moves around the world, how the cost of goods rises. All of this is related, and I promise you that Trump is lying to you. I don't even know if Trump is an idiot. Like, I don't know. Trump is truly the dumbest person on earth, and he's a thief. He's just like a dumb thief. I always talk about it. I was raised by a narcissist who's brilliant. Trump's a dumb narcissist. You're being fooled by a dumb narcissist. At least find a smart narcissist to get fooled by. I'm not reading all this, but so while Wes Moore is on Sunday morning political shows, Trump is tweeting lies about him. Like 2-page, like in real time. This is what the most powerful man in the world should do. Did Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, lie about getting a Bronze Star? Absolutely not. No, he didn't. But this is how you know. And then he posts this whole ass long thing immediately after about Chris. This is all about former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Let me show you the clip. Like, Chris Christie made the mistake. I was like a little bit confused because I didn't have time to watch all the Sunday morning political shows. I'm like, why is he going after Chris Christie? And then I found the clip. Let me show you why he wrote 2 pages about Chris Christie. This is all it was.
He said, the president said earlier in that video you showed, you didn't show this piece, where he said he's the chief federal law enforcement officer in the United States. Donald Trump sees himself as the person who gets to decide everything. And he doesn't care about any separation. In fact, he absolutely rejects the idea.
So sorry, Dark Andy, if you're friendly. I'm so sorry. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the comments. I just saw that. I apologize. Sorry. I'm sorry. I read something you wrote wrong. Oh my God. And you guys said that 20 times. Sorry. Normally I read the comments. I finally read one of the comments. So I apologize.
That there should be separation between criminal investigations and the politically elected leader of the United States. This is much different than it's ever been run before. But look, let me say candidly to the American people who are watching, you were told this. You were told that this was what he was going to do, and not by me, by Donald Trump during the 2024 campaign. He told you he was going to do this, that he was going to have a Justice Department that acted as his personal legal representation. And that is what they're doing. And J.D. Vance is just, quite frankly, got caught telling the truth because they are running it.
And of course,
the president said earlier in that.
Trump went crazy, and I'm not going to read. I don't want to support Trump's like random rants, but in that giant rant that's this long about Chris Christie, he's like, do you guys remember a long time ago?
more sophisticated.
God, was Obama president? Like there was that like Bridgegate thing where like ambulances couldn't, like his aides closed a toll bridge or a bridge. Yeah. And Trump basically in this giant like post is like, I'm gonna investigate Bridgegate and put Chris Christie in jail. Like just insane. Yeah. Like how long? I mean, I think it was like 20 years ago, because Chris Christie is like, and this is a Republican just saying like, hey, Trump told you word for word that he was a crazy dictator who's going to take over the country, who was going to take over the rule of law, just vote once more. Like, I am glad there are Republicans just being like, yeah, he told you this. Was it 2008, Dolphin? Oh my God. What? So it almost is 20 years. And he's like, I'm going to put him in jail for Bridgegate. Like, okay. Like, because Chris Christie's just like, yeah, like, you guys, MAGA, this is your dream. You voted to be robbed. You voted to do all sorts of idiotic things. And I would say MAGA are, well, and I know this because of statistical analysis. You guys are uneducated idiots. I mean, I'm by and large. I'm saying that as a compliment. Like, I say that to say I want to believe that you guys were so dumb, and I talked to a lot of MAGA. I debated them, and they would say he doesn't mean it. He's kidding about being an authoritarian fascist, which you guys didn't know what authoritarian fascist meant. It just meant gangster, like thief, grifter. That's what those words mean: gangster, thief, grifter. That's all. And you guys were like, no, none of this is happening. I almost forgot about Canklegate. I have to do Canklegate now. I'm not letting this live end without Canklegate. Hold on. Sorry. Remember how Tim Walz was calling him Cankles? I don't know if I know, stay off X. It's not safe. But everyone in X is now calling Trump Cankles because like it's come out that he's like actively trying to cover up. You know how like 100-year-old people, which actually I shouldn't say that. I am an athlete and I've had compartment syndrome. Like I had to wear we've all had to wear some compression socks. I'm not like we've, people are in compression socks, no shame. But Trump is trying to act like he's the best athlete in the world while having like weird growths on his hands, dragging one leg up the stairs at Air Force One, falling constantly. And like his cankles are like the size of the biggest part of his calf. His cankles are bigger and he's trying to cover it up. And so people are like, okay, we need to now report on Trump's cankles. And I'm going to get it. I always get her name wrong and I know everyone's going to help me. Okay, this woman used to have it. She's like a very famous interior designer who used to make a ton of money in Oklahoma City. She had a show on Bravo about it, but she's a genius. And she now does a podcast where she just like talks about politics, which I think is a much better use of her time. And she had a friend named Pumps who like wore Jennifer Welch. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, and her friend used to only smoke with like a surgical glove. This sounds like a crazy description. She's a genius. So I just need to show you this because, I mean, actually, I highly recommend you watch Jennifer Welch's podcast because she is a brilliant political mind who has impeccable taste on everything. Like, she's never wrong about a thing, but people need to know about Trump's cankles, and I think she's doing a great job in the news.
The convicted felon president, Cankles McTaco Tits, is either dipped into Elon Musk's ketamine or he's having a full-blown dementia meltdown or both. Who knows? People within the MAGA echo chamber are saying they expect his health to collapse completely within 12 months. And so he just is in the.
It's true. That's been leaked from inside MAGA. They're like, what the is going, like, that's the point. The Kankle stuff and the fear for his health, and I just want to be clear, not even his physical health, his mental health, that is coming from inside the MAGA camp. So she is correctly reporting on that. And that's why now you heard Tim Walz call him Kankles, because it's leaking out of Trump's camp that they're like, oh my God, like his health, his physical health is deteriorating, but what's going on with his brain? What did she call him? Kankles McTaco tits? I can't. I'm sorry. We have so little moments of joy.
The convicted felon president, Kankles McTaco Tits, is either dipped into Elon Musk's ketamine or he's having a full-blown dementia meltdown, or both. Who knows? People within the MAGA echo chamber are saying they expect his health to collapse completely within 12 months. And so he just is in the Oval, and he just put on the most batshit bonkers presser since the injecting of bleach to treat COVID. I think this one might be even.
Can we just point something out? You listened to her reporting, and you tell me if I covered all this stuff on the show. Because I like to listen to really smart women and be like, okay, so I am covering all the main points that another super intelligent person is like, what is going on?
A little worse. Kylie, play the first clip.
Big event at the Kennedy Center. Do you intend to take part in it? Will you have a part to play on December 5th?
I may play. I mean, I see the money that these soccer players, we call it soccer, but I see the money that these soccer players are making. I may try and play. I'm a very good athlete. My son is a very good athlete, and he's a good soccer player. He's on the tall side for soccer. He's 6'9". That's pretty tall. But that's pretty tall. It's on the tall side. It's on the tall side, but he's good. But no, I may put on shorts. I look extremely good in shorts and join the play.
Okay, so much to unpack there. The question was, will you have a part to play? Because the dementia and the health is so bad, because all the blood is at the Kankles. So Kanks has no blood flow to his brain. He took that question literally and says, I might play. The crowd kind of laughs, but he doubles down on his seriousness of it and says that he's an incredible athlete, which we all know is a complete lie, and says he looks good in shorts. And so what I have to say is, Kanks, tee it up. Get on your little short shorts. Get out there and kick a soccer ball around, because reports are you've been hiding your Kankles from the media for well over a month. I double dog dare you to do it, Kanks. Do it. All right, play the next.
I disagree. I have seen Trump in different pictures and shorts. I truly advise him to not make us look at him in shorts. I will be ill. Kanks. I know. I was going to tell you guys this. I think we should start calling him Kanks. I do think we need to change Trump's name to Kanks McTaco Tits. I think that's way better than anything we've come up with. But also mainly Trump, don't put on shorts.
Of it, and says that he's an incredible athlete, which we all know is a complete lie, and says he looks good in shorts. And so what I have to say is, Kanks, tee it up. Get on your little short shorts. Get out there and kick a soccer ball around, because reports are you've been hiding your Kankles from the media for well over a month. I double dog dare you to do it, Kanks. Do it. All right, play the next clip.
Mr. President, on that subject, have you talked to Vladimir Putin about the fact that yesterday a big U.S. factory was hit in a Russian airstrike in Ukraine? What's your reaction to that?
I'm not happy about it, and I'm not happy about anything having to do with that war. I settled 7 wars, and actually, if you think about pre-wars, add 3 more, so it would be 10. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. No, I'm not happy about anything about that war. Nothing. Not happy at all. We'll see what happens. I think over the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out which way it's going to go.
Okay, he was asked about an American factory being bombed by Vladimir Putin after Kankles rolled out, had the U.S. military in uniform get on their hands and knees and roll out a red carpet so a murderous adversary, war criminal, could prance down, and Trump standing there clapping with his Kankles in full tow. That is the weakest response I've ever seen. Now he's just making shit up. He solved They say 7 wars, but if you count pre-wars, we're up to 10. This is a guy who is involved in a massive dementia meltdown, and there is a mass cover-up by the media, all of the people around him, and the 77 million people that voted for him. This is not normal. This is insane. This is American weakness on parade. This next video, you guys, this is unbelievable. His party is the one that is all wound up about the Epstein files.
What wars has he ended? No, she's kidding. No wars. No wars has Trump ended. Why she's saying that is because after Trump tried to, blow Vladimir Putin in Alaska, and got on his knees on that red carpet while we all watched, then he was interviewed by Hannity, and Trump's like, I ended 4 wars. And Hannity's like, I've got 7 on my list. And last week I played the clip where Trump's like, they said 7. I think it's 10. No wars. 0 wars has Trump ended. After he tried to blow Vladimir Putin, the largest drone attack ever from Russia to Ukraine occurred. There's no, if ending let me get this. This is what I tried to explain to insecure MAGA men. Hey, they were like, what about the Abraham Accords? Yes, if I just draw up a press release and I write in it, I declare peace in the Middle East and I negotiated it. Is that real? Or did I just write on a piece of paper that I declare peace in the Middle East and then I just posted it on a website and then you're dumb enough to believe that's true? If I think what they mean is Trump just, remember when Pakistan attacked India and then India attacked Pakistan, then Trump's like, I negotiated a ceasefire and 5 minutes later they attacked each other again. Yeah, no, none of that is real. That's the point.
They have been Kash Patel, Bongino, even a smoky eye sociopath, J.D. Vance, all in on release the files, release the files. Let's not forget chainsaw wielding Elon Musk even whistleblew and said the reason he won't release the files is because he's in the files. So they ask him about this, and here's what he says.
A lot of people that could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be, people, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. That's just a hoax. The whole Epstein.
Worry, there's a part 2 I found, because I was like, there's part 2 of this. Yeah, she is hilarious. You should watch her show on Bravo. Her and her best friend are hilarious. I mean, men don't like women that are smarter than them. And she has a hot as shit husband who's just like, my wife's brilliant and I just am in a support role and I just get to support the most brilliant woman on earth. Her husband is smoking hot.
Very slim, very hot, very sculpted ankles, juxtaposed to Kanks's cankles. And that stuff just sends him into orbit because he cannot be exposed. If you just scratch the slightest bit of a narcissist's surface underneath, and especially with Kanks, it's just this boiling, festering, evil insecurity that just comes lashing out. So the fact that he's going after MSNBC, after they did a story on him intentionally hiding the cankles, it's true. Okay. And then that's just the physical decline, you guys. Now I want to segue over to the mental decline. Here's Kanks talking to a radio show host, and this is yesterday, about his plans for yesterday evening. Play the audio.
I'm going to be going out tonight. I'm going to keep it a secret, but I'm going to go. You're the only one that knows. You and your lots of
say if there was ever a sign of Trump's dementia, this man was allegedly almost assassinated twice, and he's like, I want everyone to know where I'm going to be and how they can unalive me. This is how we do things. Just crazy, delusional, delirious dementia presidents just tell the entire world where they're going to be so that people can unalive them. Do you guys remember last Thursday when I was like, Trump is shocker. He did not do any of what she claimed he was going to do. I love when Trump puts on fake military gear and pretends he's about to do something. There's nothing better. Trump donning fake military gear and be like, I'm going out tonight to do something. It's like, please do. drop a pin where you're going to be. Like, Iran's looking for you. But I mean, how dementia heavy, or let me just say this, forget about Trump. How dumb are the people following him? Like, if you don't immediately notice, the minute I saw that, I was like, oh my God, the dumbest man on earth is our president. That was immediate. I was like, yeah, like, Secret Service would never let you announce where you're going to be so people could unalive you. So you're an idiot and you have dementia. And MAGA's like, yeah, he's going out on patrol. That makes perfect sense. Nothing to worry about. His brain's firing on all cylinders. That's my president. He makes perfect sense. He definitely did not mathematically rob me and my children and my children's children of our financial future. Nothing to see here. Makes perfect sense. He's a genius. Like, they're in the chat be like, Trump's firing on all cylinders. I'm less worried about, because this is a 79-year-old dementia riddled man. Actually, I actually don't think Trump has dementia personally. I think Trump has been an idiot, is still an idiot, and will remain an idiot. I don't want to diagnose people with dementia, but I don't know. I just think Trump's an idiot. If you are someone that's like, it's making sense to me, and you can't show me how you're insider trading in Congress and getting rich off some sort of scheme, then you are the biggest idiot.
Over to the mental decline. Very slim, very hot, very sculpted ankles, juxtaposed to Kanks's cankles. And that stuff just sends him into orbit because he cannot be exposed if you just scratch the slightest bit of a narcissist's surface underneath, and especially with Kanks. It's just this boiling, festering, evil insecurity that just comes lashing out. So the fact that he's going after MSNBC after they did a story on him intentionally hiding the cankles, it's true. Okay. And then that's just the physical decline, you guys. Now I want to segue over to the mental decline. Here's Kanks talking to a radio show host. And this is yesterday about his plans for yesterday evening. Play the audio.
I'm going to be going out tonight. I'm going to keep it a secret, but I'm going to go. You're the only one that knows. You and your lots of listeners. You have a great.
Going out tonight, I'm going to keep it a secret, is a scary thing to say. Wait, I want to read someone's comment. That's why I put, it's just Chrissy said, I'm losing my grandma to dementia. That's absolutely what's getting to Trump. Yeah, I mean, I know. My best friend who was closest to me as family, we kind of from the time we were 19, her mother was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. So I feel like I'm watched quick dementia onset happen. And I know, I never want, because MAGA misdiagnoses people all the time. Diagnose yourselves with idiocy, MAGA. Your brains don't work. That's why I just don't want to, because what they did to Joe Biden drove me insane. It's like, you guys, Joe Biden lowered the deficit. Joe Biden helped our country. Joe Biden made us energy independent. You guys are just too dumb to read. If you're too dumb to read or do math, you cannot attack another person's intelligence level. But yeah, I know the signs with Trump are pretty scary. But wait a minute, isn't he 6'3", 210 pounds? He's an NFL linebacker in the best health of his life, and if he just cuts out the cheeseburgers, he's going to live to be 200. Isn't that what his doctor told us? I think that's what his doctor said, that no one has ever been stronger or healthier than the weird guy whose face is melting and is dragging one leg and has cankles, and his hands have these weird growths on them. His hands are turning black, by the way. Can I just wait? I need to show you guys. Let me show you guys a screenshot of something. This was a couple, I don't even know if I say this. Well, I mean, I know I have the first screenshot. This is Friday. This is Trump's hand on Friday. Okay. Trump's hand and ankles continue to indicate that he's dealing with a serious medical issue. This was his hand on Friday. His hand today is black. So whatever this is, I'm telling you, I don't know if I probably, I'm always taking screenshots. His hand is black today. So I don't know if it's just rotten. No, like black. Oh, you're saying that's makeup? That's terrible makeup. Don't do your own. Who is Jesus, get a makeup artist. If that's makeup, please, Trump, let somebody else blend get a real color that matches you. I really hope that's not makeup, but that was him a couple of days ago. And if you've seen his hand without makeup, it is kind of like a yellowish growth. And today, whatever happened, it's all the blood vessels in his hand and arm broke. It's actually kind of scary. But you're right, that is makeup. But can it's rumored Trump's it's not like someone's doing that. He does his own face, obviously. That's why one ear is orange and one ear is white. His eyes are like a raccoon. But he really should. There's got to be some hot makeup artist you'll let do your makeup so you don't look like this. We have too many things in Hollywood that could make you look normal. We're watching you rot. We are watching our president rot. Joe Biden, remember when they're why is he at the beach? Yeah, because he could pop his shirt off. Because he's a normal, and ride a bike. We're watching our president, rot from the inside out. It's I feel like we need to demand he get a makeup artist to cover this up. For the interest of national security, we should not be letting him rot publicly for everyone watches. That's why they used to prop FDR up. He had polio, he could not stand. They had a stand they would bring. It was a metal pole they would strap him to so he could stand up and give speeches because they were worried that if America appeared weak, that, we'd be taken advantage of. So why don't we, I'm just saying, it might be time to get a real makeup artist to make Trump look better. And can we do something about his leg that's not working? What is science worth if we can't fix our president's weird leg? What is happening? Hold on, sorry. I'm just trying to go back to the clip. Oh my God. Oh, just kidding. I'm so sorry. Sorry. You guys can't even see what I'm I can't hear it. You guys can't even see it. Sorry about that.
Very slim, very hot, very sculpted ankles, juxtaposed to Kanks's cankles. And that stuff just sends him into orbit because he cannot be exposed if you just scratch the slightest bit of a narcissist's surface underneath, and especially with Kanks. It's just this boiling, festering, evil insecurity that just comes lashing out. So the fact that he's going after MSNBC after they did a story on him intentionally hiding the cankles, it's true. Okay. And then that's just the physical decline, you guys. Now I want to segue over to the mental decline. Here's Kanks talking to a radio show host. And this is yesterday about his plans for yesterday evening. Play the audio.
I'm going to be going out tonight. I'm going to keep it a secret, but I'm going to go. You're the only one that knows. You and your lots of listeners. You have a great show. You have a very successful show, by the way, in case you haven't heard that. But I'm going to be going out tonight, I think, with the police, and with the military, of course. So we're going to do a job. The National Guard is great. They've done a fantastic job.
Okay. Here's the sitting convicted felon, Kankles McTaco Tits, calling into radio shows when we have all of these geopolitical issues. The markets are collapsing. And he's saying that he is going to go patrol the streets of Washington, D.C. with the police and the military and the National Guard. Well, and what an exercise in stupidity all the way around. First of all, I hate the President of the United States calling in on these dipshit radio shows. The President of the United States should be solving problems, but he can't solve problems because he's too compromised mentally. And for him to go out and make this show, he looks like the biggest dumbass I've ever seen in my life. And people hate him in D.C. Well, and the larger narrative that I'm trying to get at here is the mental decline of this.
Absolutely.
To call in, he knows Or does he know? But a sitting president of the United States would know, and this is his second term, would be abundantly aware that he would not be able to go out in Washington, D.C. on police patrols. He would know that he couldn't do that, that would be a national security risk. But it appears to me that he doesn't know that. And so we have just day after day piecing together massive dementia and cognitive decline that is not above the fold, that is not in the lead of legacy media. This is something that if Joe Biden were calling in to some radio station, rambling about going out in a squad car, playing, I guess they're all about cosplaying cops and going out and arresting people, they would go bananas. And this is just largely unnoticed. It's just Trump being Trump. And the mass cover up of his supporters, the people surrounding him at the White House, legacy media that are actively covering up this man's cognitive decline is something I think that will be studied forever, especially on the foothills of Jake Tapper, right? His book about Biden. And listen, there's no question Biden was old. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. You could tell he had aged, but it wasn't this crazy shit. Now, we're not patrolling the roof of the White House talking about putting nukes on it. We're not talking about Hannibal Lecter. We're not giving microphones blowjobs. I mean, this guy just gets crazier and crazier. And so it's super important in this vein, you guys, as we keep an eye on what is going on with Kanks, we have to make sure that we are properly vetting our
Baby Tipper .2. Welch is really a nut job. You can't spell. I'm going to guess you're saying nut job, but you just don't have the gift of spelling. Hold on, I'll invite you up to explain why. And here's what happened. Oh, you're not allowed to come up. Here's how it would work. In order to make a claim, which that's just ad hominem in your opinion, you would have to prove that one thing she said was factually untrue. Every single thing she said happened. All of that is true. All of those are things you guys said about Biden. Like, hold your guy accountable. Biden did good for this country. Biden lowered the deficit while Trump blew it out. I mean, you're saying that she's wrong. Every word she said is factually true. You're just emotional about it. Like, that's what I think that's what I'm trying to get MAGA to see. Nothing, you guys don't know any facts. You're just mad when people are like, hey, it's really crazy for the president of the United States to alert the entire world to be like, hey, I'm going to be here busting up brown people who are contributing to the economy and they have your money. Even though we know mathematically I robbed you and and corporations and billionaires have your money, I'm still trying to pretend like immigrants are doing something wrong. Like, if you think that she is wrong, you're an idiot. That's the point. Like, if you show up in this live and you're like, oh, that woman is, the point is you are wrong. I'm trying to challenge you to learn something. You are wrong. God, what is wrong with insecure idiot MAGA men? You're on a supercomputer typing idiot things. Like, I have this deep need in me to do research and to understand what's going on. Why don't men have that same need? Why are you guys so dumb? It's terrifying. You guys have no idea what's going on. And we all have to sit here and listen to you be dumb. And you're like, nailed it. No, you guys have never nailed. You guys are literally dumber than a doornail. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. The idiocy knows no bounds at this point. That's where we are with you. And I always talk about mathematical arguments of how dumb MAGA is. Like, here's another example of how dumb Trump is. Like, it's so fascinating. Like, mathematically, Trump should not get rid of mail-in ballots. It will be the nail in his coffin.
voting nationwide, despite the fact that he has no real constitutional authority to do so, at least according to most major scholars. I think it's really important to point out that one of the big reasons why Donald Trump won in 2024 was because of an improvement with mail-in voting. Indeed, his improvement was so big that without his mail-in voting bump, he would have actually lost in 2024. What am I talking about here? Okay, Trump's margin in 2024 versus 2020. Among mail-in voters, get this. He did 9 points better. He did 9 points better in 2024 compared to 2020. Among in-person voters, get this. He did actually 5 points worse. He did 5 points worse. Therefore, the only reason that Donald Trump won in 2024 was because he did better with mail-in voting than he did back in 2020. Now, this, I think, is the really important thing when it comes to the Trump Republican coalition. They do better among voters of color. They do better among lower education levels, right? They do better among younger voters, all who have a lower propensity to turn out. Therefore, Donald Trump should try to be expanding the voting universe. Indeed, take a look at this statistic right here. Trump's 2024 presidential win. If all citizens voted, get this, his margin would have actually increased by 1 to 3 points according to most studies. I went back and I looked at every single election I could, studied every single one. He is the first Republican nominee for president on record that I could find that would actually benefit from universal voting. That is, if every citizen or every eligible citizen voted. Donald Trump should be trying to get
That's why, and this is the irony, like, you have to be smart enough. And I want to say this, like, Loris is not supporting Trump. Dawn Citrus, stop arguing in the comments with Loris. She does not support Trump. She's from Finland and she has never supported Trump in her life. So I think, like, there might be a misunderstanding there, and you don't need to keep going back and forth about that. Loris does not support Donald Trump. It's the exact. She's literally in a country that borders Russia. She definitely does not support Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form. Like, I think, like, there's just a confusion about what's happening here. Okay. Yeah, she's the most anti-Trump person probably in the comments. Like, I think you're arguing with someone that is. Yeah, I think there's a big confusion going in the comments. Let's not fight people. She's literally in Finland. She's the last person in these comments to ever support Donald Trump about anything, including SA. Like, it is insane, right? That this man, which you can find in like, as someone that watched every Trump rally leading up to the 2024 election. He's like, vote mail-in, he supported mail-in ballots then. And I always talk to this whenever they were trying to say, distract from the fact Trump is a child trafficker in the Epstein files. They were like, oh, Obama's he committed treason. Here's 160 pages that proves it. And I read those pages, and that was about the safety and security of our cyber elections. As well as safety and security of voting machines, of mail-in voting, all sorts of things to prove that. I guess their point was that, like, Putin didn't break into voting machines or, like, actually change the vote numbers, which no one ever said he did. But it can't be both. Like, this guy won mathematically because of mail-in voting, and now he's like, let's shut down mail-in voting for the midterms. Think about what that is, right? This guy, the only way he ever won is mail-in voting, and now he wants mail-in voting to be stopped because they ran a bunch of statistical analysis, and the fewer people, the fewer votes, the better chance of Republicans winning. This is like the biggest voter suppression, gerrymandering cry for help I've ever seen.
Polls to the polls, not trying to limit their options. Indeed, if you think about history, right, you think about mail-in voting, there's no reason to believe that it has to lean one way or the other, politically speaking. Indeed, go back. For instance, go back to the 2000 election, right? How Bush won Florida in 2000 and therefore the election. Remember, that election was decided by only 537 votes. There was a big Republican drive led by George W. Bush, the Republican nominee for president's brother, Jeb Bush, who in fact, of course, was the governor of Florida. And Bush said, vote from the comfort of your home. Indeed, that's what a lot of Republicans did. Get this. Among mail-in votes, get this. George W. Bush won by about 125,000 votes. That was able to barely, and I mean barely, overcome Al Gore's lead on Election Day in in-person votes of about 124,000. What a difference history would have made if, in fact, there was not this Republican push for mail-in votes back in 2000. You might have ended up with Al Gore winning the state of Florida. In fact, I pretty much guarantee it. And more than that, you would have ended up with such a different history, because Al Gore winning in Florida meant he would have won the election, would have meant we would not have had George W. Bush as the president, the 43rd president of the United States, and who knows what might have happened. But the bottom line takeaway from this is Donald Trump is actually probably hurting himself by trying to move Republicans away from mail-in votes. There's no reason to believe that mail-in votes have to lean one way or the other politically, and Donald Trump would in fact benefit from greater turnout, much unlike the traditional Republican candidate.
I say I don't disagree with that statistical analysis, but I do. There's a larger statistical analysis going on in the country. It was when Hillary Clinton ran against Trump. It's the same reason, like that same argument was made. Why would you why would Republicans stop, or conservatives want to stop every woman from voting? What about all the women that vote conservative? It's because when Hillary Clinton ran against Trump, they did a ton of statistical analysis, and they determined that if we just stop women from voting, which they're not going to repeal the 19th Amendment, right? That's a very hard thing to do, and a lot of people would have a problem with that. But if they make it as hard as possible, which is what this SAVE Act does, right? If they make it as hard as possible for women to vote, if they can stop as many women from voting as possible, if, like, let's say if they could repeal the 19th Amendment, what they determined was conservatives would never lose another election. So that's what it is. It's like they are trying to just cut out huge cross sections of people and say, if we can make it so just as many privileged white men as possible can vote, that's right, is the most unconstitutional, un-American shit ever. I've talked about this before. Who brought the bill to stop all voter suppression and stop all gerrymandering? Democrats. Who voted against it by and large? Republicans. Like, what kind of democracy are we running when you want to suppress American citizens from voting? It's delusional. It's antithetical to the idea of democracy. We are in a weird hellscape. I've got to get, oh my God, I have the funniest video. I might get a copyright violation, but I just think this is such a good teaching tool. So I love Jordan Klepper. I think, like, yes, he does a lot of funny stuff on The Daily Show, but they're also great learning moments. Jordan Klepper went on a university campus, I believe in Texas, and started being like, talking about Charlie Kirk to these young idiots. So if you're ever wondering, like, how people can support how these 18-year-old idiots support Charlie Kirk and don't understand that he's like some creepy old man lurking on a college campus, telling them actual lies, mathematical lies, factual lies, like, I've never seen a better illustration of a creepy old man indoctrinating people and them not being able to get it. You're going to die. This is the best clip I've ever seen in my life.
Everybody knows who Charlie Kirk is. If they don't know the name, they know the face.
And he's reaching millions with these pearls of wisdom.
White, college, indoctrinated women will ruin America if we let them. Most college degrees are meaningless, and most of you guys are being totally scammed by being here.
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
What makes Charlie Kirk so effective on a campus like this?
I just think it's all the research he's done, all the statistics that he has to back it up.
I think he just really knows his stuff.
The guy's consistent.
He's consistent.
He's like TikTok. I love TikTok. 3 months ago, I hate TikTok.
Yep.
So his consistency can flip here and there. But even if Charlie Kirk doesn't seem to believe the things he says, for some students, he was the only one speaking to their concerns.
A couple of years ago, I started finding more people because I got so tired of this not being able to speak my mind. So I needed to find people that actually knew how to say things to a, I I'm forgetting the words. I'm sorry.
You needed somebody to be more articulate for you.
Yes, because you see me like right now, I can't put words together. So
you're looking for somebody to put words in your mouth.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, not like that exactly.
That's what I was doing right there.
Yes.
What I'm talking about is what Charlie Kirk kind of does inside.
Yes.
Yes, he puts the words in your mouth.
Yeah, making enough sense for me so I memorize what he says, then I can freely say it to...
Exactly. So basically his words become your own.
Yes.
His thoughts become your own.
It's awesome.
And some of those beautifully crafted words play great as clickbait online.
What is a woman? What is a woman? It's not a trick question. What is a woman?
He always asks liberals, like, what is a woman?
Yeah, we literally saw like 5 or 10 minutes ago.
You got to see alive what is a woman.
Finally, he was like, all right, give me your definition. What is a woman?
How do you define what a woman is?
I think it's just genetics.
I go with like a woman is somebody who sues Donald Trump for sexual assault. 31-year-old Kirk and the billionaires who fund him are successfully influencing young minds and making those young minds skeptical of anyone else trying to influence young minds.
Beto O'Rourke has been to campus probably like 5 times, and I don't know why he's still coming here.
Feels like groomers.
Yes.
You have somebody like Beto O'Rourke, you have like...
I was disappointed at this woman. This is why, and I'm saying this, I will not fight women online. I will not debate women. If you're this lost and this dumb, I encourage you to look into statistics, primary and secondary resources, court documents of why no conservatives support you in any way. But this was like the scariest part for me of the whole thing. Hold on, I'm just going to start over. Listen to this lost soul.
Those young minds skeptical of anyone else trying to influence young minds.
Beto O'Rourke has been to campus probably like 5 times, and I don't know why he's still coming here.
Feels like groomers.
Yes.
You have somebody like Beto O'Rourke, you have like an adult man come to a campus trying to groom somebody around his own political ideology.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That shouldn't happen at all.
No, it shouldn't.
That's why it's refreshing to have somebody like Charlie Kirk come to campus and bring his 30-year-old mentality here to shape the minds of tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows who Charlie Kirk is. If they don't know.
Did you see she had a Jesus shirt on? Like, I'm sorry, do you have a problem with groomers? Hold on. I'm going somewhere. Like, you have a problem with people grooming young children and essaying them? You do, whilst wearing a shirt that is decidedly evangelical and Christian? Yeah, I can't hold on, I gotta show you guys another thing. But can you imagine, like, they don't even realize, they're like, yeah, Beto O'Rourke is some weirdo who's grooming us. You mean all of the Republicans and the pastors and the creepy people that are actually mathematically, statistically lying to you, that are changing curriculum so you become more uneducated? Those people aren't grooming you. Those people aren't lying to you. But the people that are just trying to give you factual information are grooming you. Nailed it. Like, it couldn't possibly be that you guys are the dumbest people on the planet. You guys nailed it. Like, what could ever go wrong? Hold on, I just need to remember. I have this second. Okay, here we go. This is just a recent news clip. Like, that girl with a Jesus t-shirt on said Beto O'Rourke kept showing up on to campus in Texas and grooming them. Here's an actual groomer. I know this is gonna come as a shock. It's a youth pastor. It's a MAGA youth pastor.
Pastor facing dozens of charges now, accused of sexually abusing students in his congregation. So far, 6 men have come forward alleging that Thomas Pinkerton abused them between 2006 and 2010.
Police say 7 young men came forward to report Pinkerton's alleged abuse.
Facing 24 counts related to child sexual abuse offenses.
52-year-old Thomas Pinkerton will remain in jail without bond.
He was a youth pastor at Central Christian Church, happening at the church and inside his home.
Pinkerton is accused of kissing the boys ranging in age from 12 to 17 at the time of their abuse, telling them, quote, "This is how Jesus greeted his disciples," end quote.
Including massages, hand-holding, hugging, wrestling, and kissing.
This is how Jesus treated his disciples, end quote. So someone needs to, that whatever 18-year-old idiot woman was like, Beto O'Rourke keeps showing up here trying to groom people. This is actual grooming in the name of Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior. Let's just keep going here. I just want to make sure we really just take it in. I could spend 10 hours going through just these. There's several accounts, I want you to know, on X that just track conservative evangelical pastors who are caught for essaying children, and they never run out of content. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, conservative men grooming, raping, and essaying children and women.
Massages,
So I guess, wait, let me just close this by saying, so just to close, that girl implied Beto O'Rourke was a groomer. So whenever these allegations and the indictment comes out about Beto O'Rourke, then we can address that. And trust me, the left will hold him accountable instantly. If by grooming you mean telling you facts that are incongruent with the delusional, idiotic things that your dumb parents taught you, then I mean, maybe it's hard to learn the truth about things, but this is what grooming is.
Jesus greeted his disciples, end quote,
including massages, hand-holding, hugging, wrestling, and kissing.
Many of them also reported Pinkerton would bring them to his home, give them massages, and touch their genitals. He also has been a pastor in at least 5 states and ran mission trips to other countries.
Right now, another investigation is underway in Georgia for similar accusations.
He's been in Georgia. He has a family in Georgia, a wife and 3 children. He's actually a member of pastor of a church down in Georgia.
In addition to the 6 victims here in Maryland, another victim has come forward in Georgia, and police worry there may be more.
Oh, yeah, that's grooming and SA. That's what you just heard there. I just want to be clear. And if you hear, this is for insecure MAGA men whose brains don't work. I know, especially when you're young and you're trying to trick women into having sex with you, the best way to get women to want to be naked with you is to just be a good person. To just be vulnerable and honest about your hopes, dreams, and fears, and just in your most vulnerable form connect with a woman, and then she might see the real you and respect you for doing that. If you think that what Charlie Kirk says is that women shouldn't vote and they're dumb and that shit makes sense to you, and you're sitting on a college campus saying Charlie Kirk's right, I'm here to inform you, Charlie Kirk is one of the dumbest people I've ever heard speak. None of that is factual information. Yelling "what is a woman" has nothing to do with science, has nothing to do with math, has nothing to do with logic, has nothing to do with reason. That's just an insecure white male who's like, I feel like I'm losing something. I'm losing my piece of the pie. Every time we have to give equity and equality to women, I feel like I'm losing something. We have to stop poor people from being educated, or I might lose more. It's just deep insecurity. I promise you, the best way forward is to just be honest and vulnerable with women and be secure in who you are. You don't need to lie. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to obfuscate. You don't need to try to subjugate women. It's just a bad look. Just be honest and say, hey, I feel a little bit insecure. I don't feel like I'm good enough. I feel lost in this world. That shit resonates with women. If a man says that to me, I don't care what they look like. I love them. Thank you for your honesty. I also feel that way, and we can move forward together in a friendship. Like, that's all you have to do is just be like, I'm lost and confused and alone. That's it. Just be vulnerable. It's not like the patriarchy teaching you like the best thing we can do is just be giant idiots and punch down on them, and whenever we feel like they're learning more than us, we shouldn't learn anything. We should just stop them from learning. It's not working mathematically, statistically. Women are more educated than men now, and you guys just seem desperately insecure about it. So my advice is, if you are a young man who would like to have sex with a woman, just be vulnerable. Just be honest and vulnerable. and build a real relationship based on honesty and vulnerability. And it may not work out the first time or the second time, but once you practice that, that is the way forward. Just be whoever you are, and you're going to find someone who appreciates you for that. I promise you. It's okay to just be like, hey, I am completely insecure. I can barely look at myself in the mirror. I have body dysmorphia. And then a woman's gonna be like, me too. Great. Oh, you hate yourself too? Great. Like, they're gonna love it. I promise you. Like, stop trying to dominate and honestly, you guys are idiots. So when you try to be like, oh, I know more than you, the most important part is to actually know something. If you're going to go out, like I'm on live stream being like, I know more than insecure MAGA men. I actually do. The key is, if you're trying to impart knowledge to someone, is not, I heard Charlie Kirk say something or I heard Donald Trump say something, right? The man is rotting inside out and can't do math. And you're like, well, Donald Trump said it, so I'm here to tell women I know more than them. Yeah, that's... God, what could go wrong? It's so hard to see how all these things could go wrong for people. I mean, just so strange. I need to do my section on racism. I told someone a couple hours ago I had a section on racism I was going to do. I just want to say this. I said this kind of like when someone in the comments was saying, like, are you going to talk about Kilmar Abrego Garcia? I did. When he was informed he could be deported to Uganda, I talked about it. Like, this is when you are informed of your constitutional and legal rights on U.S. soil, right? And you start exercising them, your right to a trial, your right to an attorney, your right to exist outside of U.S. custody, all of these things. Donald Trump is no liking any of this because he has no leg to stand on in this case. So he snatched up Kilmar Abrego Garcia and put him back into custody. This is 3 days after a federal judge released him from custody. It's like insane. And by the way, I just need to say, he has an ankle tracker on. Like, it's not like he's gonna escape somewhere, which, by the way, the point is to deport him. So if he did want to leave the country, that's what they allegedly want, is him to leave the country. So it's super weird. You need an ankle tracker on him, and now you need to put him back into a concentration camp. Like, yeah, you're arguing he needs to leave the country, but you don't want him to leave the country. Make it make sense. This is his lawyer this morning speaking about it.
There was no need for them to take him into ICE detention. He was already on electronic monitoring from the U.S. Marshal Service and basically on house arrest. The only reason that they've chosen to take him into detention is to punish him. Yes. To punish him for exercising his constitutional rights. His constitutional right to fight back against being illegally deported to El Salvador. His constitutional right to speak up through his court filings on the torture and treatment that he received in El Salvador at the direct request of our government. His constitutional right not to allow his arm to be twisted to take a guilty plea if he doesn't want to. His constitutional right to exercise his right to a jury trial on his criminal proceedings if he so chooses. And his constitutional right and his right under the Bail Reform Act to leave the prison and come home to his family. He's being punished for exercising those rights. There was no need for them to take him into...
Absolutely. And I do just want you guys to know, and I'm going to have to look up the actual expose, but there's a Bulwark article called What Do We Owe Andrew? Remember Andrew, the gay makeup artist that was tortured alongside Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who had entered the United States. I'm not talking about Kilmar. I'm talking about Andrew now. He entered the United States completely legally. He was deported to the same torture chamber concentration camp, Seco, as Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He was, I'm not going to get into, I think I should do my own whole thing, but was essayed. All sorts of horrible things happened there. There was article released by, I believe, the Washington Post, where they interviewed a bunch of people that, that Trump had wrongfully sent there who were deported back to Venezuela. And multiple of those people are reporting that they were sexually assaulted, beaten, tormented, starved, terrorized. And this article the Bulwark put out on August 6th is called "What Do We Owe Andrew?" Understand, the reason Trump's mad is because Kilmar Abrego Garcia didn't just go back where he's from. He's here fighting, right? We owe a bunch more people who were just finally left the El Salvadorian concentration camp and were deported back to Venezuela, who were tortured, raped, beaten, starved. Also, horrific. This is a concentration camp where people have exited with parts of their brain missing. I know that because I can read. And honestly, all of those people should sue us too. Our tax dollars, how much do you owe someone who's been raped, beaten, tortured within an inch of their life, who was in the United States legally? I don't know. You tell me. I hope they do sue. It's just crazy. Like, it's crazy. And that's the thing. Like, if you're in these comments defending Trump, then you just don't know the math. You don't know how much money he's costing us. Every illegal firing of a federal employee, we have to pay out. You're just too dumb to know what's happening. Elon Musk saved us $0.00. He cost us billions of dollars with the Doge thing. Like, you just don't know that. And it's day 250, and Trump's first 100 days in the presidency had spent $200 billion more than Biden. Like, you have no idea what's going on in the government because you can't read, you can't do math, you can't use the supercomputer and find any of this information. All Trump's doing is wasting money and hurting people. Now, I want to point this out because, I love Brian Bios. I always play his videos, but this was one where I was like, this is like one of his true genius moments. Like, I saw this and his breakdown of I promised everyone I had a whole section of racism in America that I wanted to talk about. I love Brian Bios. It's at Mentally Divine if you want to follow him on TikTok. But I saw this morning. I was like, man, nailed it. Like, this is I feel like a college professor would look at this picture and give this talk.
24 million people saw this photo, but nobody broke it down to see what it really meant. The post was posted on ICE San Diego's Twitter page, and it says, ICE San Diego arrested Diego Hernandez, 42, an illegal alien from Mexico with multiple convictions for DUI and repeated illegal re-entry into the U.S. He chose to break our laws again and again. He will remain in ICE custody pending removal because public safety comes first. First, let me tell you that the optics of this is on purpose and propaganda. In this photo, you're making a racially ambiguous, potentially indigenous person look unkempt, disheveled, and somebody that you need to civilize. They made him take a photo mid-blink under harsh white office lights with his shoe fucking coming undone. All of that is to strip this person from their humanity and to make them look like savages that we need to civilize so that it can justify us treating them in the way that we treat them, ripping them apart from their families, throwing them in jails, deporting them to countries that they don't even fucking know because they're savages, they're animals. Not to mention the icing on the cake where this man is wearing a South Park shirt with Cartman, who's a character from South Park, that's saying, whatever, I do what I want, continuing to further the narrative that this person is a criminal and they will continue to have a defiant spirit to our laws and that they do not belong. Then you have this man standing next to an officer that seems to be a white woman that's turned around and taller than him. Height in Western culture and Western civilization has always been tied to masculinity, so making this man look small, particularly smaller next to a woman, adds to that gender role interplay of this is an other culture and we have to vilify them because they're different than us. Interestingly enough, while they're emasculating this man, they're also objectifying white women. Basically saying you can be the good little soldiers and do some of the hard work that the men do, but you will take no credit because your ass will be turned around and we will objectify you. Because what they're really saying is, bitch, you really shouldn't be working with us in the first place. So you will take this photo, but you will turn around and we will look at that ass. Because the reality is your ass should be at home taking care of the kids and cooking my motherfucking meal. This is America. This is
Were truer words ever effing spoken? Truly. Truly. And wait, hold on. I want to go into something. This is one of my favorite posts. Oh, yeah. Wait, someone said, who is that? I think we posted it. It's at mental. Here, I can show you this. Because it's so important. It's when we talk about issues of racism, like, I take this very seriously. Brian Baez, I am in this press corps with him, and I get to sit in Zoom meetings and listen to him speak, and he's brilliant. He's a gay black man. It's at Mentally Divine. He's on TikTok too. He's absolutely brilliant. The way he puts lines of logic together and correctly analyzes racism and bigotry in America. Well, all sorts of things, not just these issues, but so many things. Look, I know I am getting texts from Matt. I'm talking about racism in America. I know that I am going to talk about this right now, and then we can deal with that later. So I understand. I care about Matt. Matt is I understand what's going on. Everyone's okay. Everyone's okay. So I'm talking about racism in America, right? People who are actually not okay. I know Matt is okay right now. I know that for a fact. I know because he's texting me. So this is I'm talking about racism in America and people who are not okay. Yeah. What are you these are people who are in concentration camps and are being used as racist tropes, racist and misogynist tropes. I know Matt's fine because he's texting me over and over. He's fine. So, and I just want you to say, listen, if you're protesting in DC, I support you 110%. I love Matt. I love everything Matt does. There are people that we need to amplify their voices and focus on that. He's online right now. I know. So I'm just a little bit confused why, what you're telling me right now. Everyone's okay, but you know who's not okay? Black and brown people in America. Yeah. Which this video is one of my, and I don't know, is this a TikTok video? I don't think it is a TikTok, because I was going to say we should all follow this woman. I don't know, but I just thought this was such a great line of logic and is so true.
What's happening with Target and what's happening with Cracker Barrel, them changing their logo, is they're finding out there aren't enough white dollars to keep this afloat. Point blank period. Point blank period. What's happening with all these hospitals that are going to have to shut down, they're realizing there aren't enough white doctors to keep departments open. Real simple. You're going to find that with engineering. You're going to find that with scientists. You're going to find that out with a whole bunch of other professions that a lot of immigrants are in, or a lot of minorities, meaning black people, brown people, Latino people, gay people are in, even women. There aren't enough white, straight men to keep these positions afloat. There aren't enough white, straight men that have enough dollars to keep all this going. Because that's who ultimately they want to give everything back to. So these corporations and these companies are finding out the hard way your company or your small business actually stayed open because of the minority dollar or the education and drive.
I think Matt's fine. I think he's live with Jolly. I think everyone should just go to that live. Thank you, Terry, for the $5 on Cash App. Thank you for sharing your brilliance. I think everyone should just focus on what's important there, and I'll be live again on Wednesday.